Louis, KMOX FM, Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The federal government's headed into day 7 of a shutdown, and airline passengers like these two in Denver are starting to feel the pain.
I think it's totally ridiculous. They have no idea how they're disrupting everybody's lives, and they don't care. Can anybody get along?
Air traffic controllers who are expected to work without pay have begun sicking out, disrupting flights across the country. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy.
Now what they think about as they're controlling our airspace is, how am I going to pay my mortgage? How do I make my car payment? I have a couple kids at home. How do I put food on the table?
Thousands of flights in the U.S. have been canceled or delayed. As more Democratic cities and states try to put up legal roadblocks, President Trump says he would consider using the Insurrection Act to send federal troops in.
If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that. I mean, I want to make sure that people aren't killed. We have to make sure that our cities are safe.
A federal judge turned down Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker's attempt to keep the National Guard out of Chicago.
There was never an insurrection or an invasion on the ground that justified the deployment of the military to our American city.
Republicans are upset. The FBI analyzed the phone records of some GOP lawmakers. Correspondent Michael Wallace.
A newly released document lists 8 senators and 1 House member whose phone records the FBI scrutinized 2 years ago as part of its investigation into President Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election. The Bureau could only see the dates and times of the phone calls, including calls with the president the night of the Capitol riot. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley calls it an unconstitutional breach.
In Jerusalem, Israelis singing the national anthem to mark 2 years since Hamas attack that killed around 1,200 people and saw 251 taken hostage. The onslaught began at a music festival just across the border from Gaza. The BBC's Yolande Nell is there.
There are pictures now of the more than 340 young people, most of them, who were killed here that day with their stories, and members of their families have been coming, looking at those portraits.
3 scientists, including John Clark, have been awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics for their work on quantum mechanics.
My feelings are that I'm completely stunned, of course. It had never occurred to me in any way that this might be the basis of a Nobel Prize.
Among the 3, an American. All of them conducted their research here in the U.S. This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Not only does Progressive let you bundle your insurance, they also give you round-the-clock protection. Quote today at Progressive.com.
At 6:03, cloudy sky, 69 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Tom Ackerman.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey.
It is difficult to reconcile this new definition of marijuana offense with what is clearly written in Article 14 and passed by the voters.
That's Dan Vietz with the Missouri affiliate of National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Laws, or NORML. He tells KMOX Missouri's Supreme Court ruling eliminates felony marijuana expungements.
And Vietz says it also appears to violate and contradict the legislation passed by the Missouri voters in November of 2022. Vietz says a case, CS versus Highway Patrol and others, was taken up in the Western District Court.
The question was really whether an unlawful possession of a firearm based on simultaneous possession of marijuana should also be expunged. So the court did not need to give us a new meaning of marijuana offense in order to answer that question. But the majority of the Missouri Supreme Court chose to use that case to declare a new and far more restrictive definition of what marijuana offenses are for purposes of expungement.
Vietz tells KMOX there's not much recourse, but Missouri legislators could pass a law which would provide for expunging these cases, but he's not hopeful. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The United States Supreme Court declined to hear Missouri's motion to revive the Second Amendment Preservation Act. This was passed in 2021 by Republican legislators, which was intended to stop enforcement of several federal gun laws statewide. One of the regulations stopped local law enforcement agencies from working with federal authorities, and if they did, could face a fine of $50,000. A lower court had ruled the Second Amendment Preservation Act in Missouri violated language in the U.S. Constitution, calling the Supremacy Clause, meaning federal law supersedes state laws.
Is there still time for St. Louis County to renovate their headquarters before they fall out of compliance?
New fire codes in Clayton are forcing St. Louis County to find a new home with their current headquarters lacking a fire suppression system. Despite acknowledging the council is exploring rental options, Councilman Dennis Hancock is still holding out hope there is enough time to retrofit the current building.
We've got time to find a new place to live. I think we probably got time to fix the place we live in.
Councilman Hancock says he wants to see a quote for just a fire suppression system. A spokesperson for County Executive Sam Page says it would cost $103 million and time has run out to renovate it. He adds by the end of the year, the council and the county executive will have chosen a new temporary location for the county's headquarters. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri is calling for prosecutions after a newly released document shows the FBI under the Biden administration collected his phone data. More from KMOX's Michael Calhoun.
The document released by Senator Chuck Grassley shows agents gathered call logs and location data, but not the actual content of calls from the days around January 6, 2021 for several senators, including Missouri's Hawley. The data was for the Arctic frost investigation over elector slates, which formed the basis for the special counsel's case against President Trump. In a statement, Hawley called the action an abuse of power beyond Watergate.
Air traffic control operations and flight schedules are not expected to be disrupted if federal funding lapses due to the government shutdown. At least at St. Louis Lambert International Airport, Director Rhonda Homnebergy tells MissouriNet they don't expect disruptions and aren't seeing them yet.
Could there be some on the system? Yes. So far, it's been pretty quiet. I really haven't seen any big issues anywhere. I think if that continues, you could see some markets where there are staffing challenges. But again, I think that's yet to be seen at this point.
The government shutdown started last Wednesday. No clear end in sight.
The Business Desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. Layoffs at Stiefel. About 60 technology workers in St. Louis will be let go in what's called a small restructuring. According to the Post-Dispatch, Stiefel just had its best second quarter in the company's history, more than $1.25 billion in net revenue. Stiefel has about 1,850 employees in St. Louis.
Still ahead, the latest on the officer-involved shooting early this morning on I-70 in Earth City, and an update on a tragic death outside a Ladue bookstore. That and more coming up next.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here, and I just wanted to let you know that FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, is coming to Missouri. On December 1st, you'll finally be able to bet on all your favorite teams in all your favorite sports. And with FanDuel, there are just so many ways for you to get in on the action. And you can check it out at FanDuel.com/Missouri, where you can download the app. You can bet on everything from the money line to over-unders to which team's going to win it all on a futures bet. Plus, with live betting, you can pick which player is going to score the next touchdown or which player is going to hit the next home run and the one after that and the one after that and so on. And I've been with FanDuel since the very beginning. I've been using the FanDuel Sportsbook app for years when I've been in states that allow me to play, and it's a blast. It's super easy, just as easy to get your money out as it is to put your money in, by the way. So see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to download the app. FanDuel, play your game. 21 and older, present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's get you updated on your ride-in traffic and weather together as we're heading towards 610. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the highways are doing pretty good, with the one exception being on the Illinois side, Debbie, and that's on westbound 5570 as emergency repair work that started Not quite this time yesterday. It was between 6:30 and 7, I guess. I don't remember when they exactly set up. But they're out there through Friday now. Those right lanes closed before you get to 111 on westbound 5570, and it's jammed already west of 255, so significant backup through there this morning that you didn't have yesterday morning, like I said, because it got started a little later on that project yesterday. Northbound 55, a little busy around 67 to make not that big of a deal right now. That slowdown we had westbound 64 through Lake St. Louis Boulevard, that roadwork has thinned out. Eastbound 70 also looks better in Warrenton. Speaking of roadwork, this morning at 8:30, now this will be today through Thursday, 8:30 to 3:30 each day. The ramp from Collinsville Avenue onto westbound 5570 will be closed, and the exit to the King Bridge will be closed at that time as well on the westbound side. So again, that starts this morning at 8:30, so just be prepared for that. We had a stall reported. I still don't see any delays. Northbound 55 at the ramp to westbound 44 in the left lane as you round the bend. Didn't have lights on, so just please be careful as you go through there. I do see a truck eastbound on 44 at the 55 south exit. You know, they had that ramp closed overnight, eastbound 44 to northbound 55. They wrapped it up. It looks like there's still some crews on the scene on the shoulder there. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A shower or thunderstorm in the area this morning. Otherwise, today will be mostly cloudy and not as warm as recent days with a high of 76. Skies will clear tonight and it will turn noticeably cooler overnight. The lows will range from 44 in the coolest suburbs to 51 downtown at the Arch. Pleasant tomorrow with plenty of sun, the high 74. Nice Thursday with sunshine, high 72. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now we have 69 degrees in Florissant, 66 in St. Peters. It's cloudy and 69 downtown of the Arch. Weather sponsored by Allstate, which you could save on home insurance. With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. Yep, it's a win-win. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
It's now 6:12. Parts of Interstate 70 were shut down this morning for an officer-involved shooting. St. Louis County Police say officers responded to a call about a suicidal subject on eastbound 70 near the Earth City Expressway. Fox 2's Chris Renier was on the scene.
We understand this all started just after 12:30 this morning when St. Louis County Police from the Central Precinct received the call for a suicidal subject. A county police spokesperson telling us a responding officer found an adult female with a gun walking eastbound on I-70 just east of the Blanchette Bridge here. Authorities say when the officer tried to make contact with that woman, she pointed the gun she was holding at the officer. At that point, we're told the county police officer fired his service weapon, grazing the woman. Investigators tell us the woman was then taken into custody and transported to the hospital for treatment. We're told that 28-year-old county police officer was not hurt and a gun was recovered at the scene.
It happened just a little after 1 p.m. yesterday that 4 people died in a crash on 170. This was when a wrong-way driver traveling southbound on 170 collided with 3 other vehicles northbound at I-70, resulting in the wrong-way driver's death, as well as 3 passengers in one of the other 3 vehicles. 170 northbound was closed for several hours as investigation work continued.
The family of a woman killed outside a bookstore on Friday remember her as the heart of their family. 74-year-old Paula Aboud was an immigrant from Lebanon, a grandmother, a tax preparer who loved working with people, according to the Post-Dispatch. Aboud and her husband were about to enter the Barnes & Noble, that's the one on Ladue Road, when an SUV hit them and crashed into the building. Her husband, Camille, remains in the hospital. Police say the driver is cooperating. No charges are expected.
Black bears are on the prowl in Missouri as migration season begins. Besides smelly trash, Dan Zarlenga with the Missouri Department of Conservation says there are other food sources that can attract them to your property.
If you feed your pets outdoors, you might want to consider discontinuing that if you can, or if you can't, just put the food out long enough for them to eat and take it in. The grills are the same as the trash cans. You know, the food droppings and grease and all that can attract bears.
He says if you encounter a black bear, you should get big and back away slowly, but do not run.
Here's Oshie wide open in the clear. He scores! On a turnover, Oshie buries it, and the Blues take a 1-0 lead.
2 St. Louis fan favorites heading to the national stage. Former Blues forward TJ Oshie joining ESPN as an NHL analyst and the man behind the mic for many of his goals in St. Louis. John Kelly will be joining him. Kelly, who was controversially dropped from the local Blues broadcast this offseason, is also being hired by ESPN as a play-by-play announcer. Good for both of them.
We had Blues chairman Tom Stillman on the Gas House Gang yesterday. Let's get into that.
Yeah, I think we're all ready and we're ready to go. You know, that the training camp is going well, and you know, our roster's just about set, so we're ready and excited to get going.
Let me ask you about that one right away. Just and look, I know it's not finalized yet, but I wanted to get your thoughts on Lucic real quick. I love this podcast that Chaser and Holly did called Ice Guardians, and Holly told this great story about Lucic in that Blackhawks game the other night. He said he was watching, Holly always watches these things closely. He said there was a young Blackhawks player who was kind of face washing guys and, you know, jabbing guys, and Lucic came out onto the ice and stood right next to him. And the guy wouldn't even make eye contact with him, wouldn't even look at him. Things kind of calmed down after that. You just love having, whether he makes this roster or not, you love having those guys available, don't you?
Yeah, I think it makes everybody on the team feel a little bit bigger, a little more confident. You know, having somebody like that around. Lucic garners a lot of respect around the league on a number of levels, and so you know that's why Doug has signed him to a PTO and is interested in seeing what he can do. So you know, we're not sure right now where that's going to go, but you know, it really is an interesting possibility.
So he did not, as it turns out, make the roster, but he still can sign a contract with the Blues. They can continue him on what's called a 10-day PTO. It allows him to practice with the team, but not play in games. Lucic, at last check, has not signed a deal with the Blues. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. He has been practicing with them. Here's the roster as it stands today. This is official for the opener on Thursday against the Wild. Your forwards are Alexander Texier. He makes the team, along with Captain Braden Shen, Alexei Toropchenko, Robert Thomas, Jimmy Snuggerud, Pia Suter, Jordan Kyrou, Nathan Walker, Jake Neighbors, Oscar Sundquist, Matthew Joseph, Nick Bukestad, Dylan Holloway, and Pavel Buchnevich. Your defensemen, Philip Broberg, Cam Fowler, Logan Mayu, Matthew Kessel, Colton Parayko, Justin Falk, and Tyler Tucker. Goaltenders, Joel Hofer, and, of course, Jordan Bennington. That's your team, as the Blues have high hopes for this team. We'll talk a little bit more about what Tom Stillman said about their chances coming up on Total Information AM. Our guest on the Gas House Gang today is Chaim Bloom, the Cardinals president of baseball operations. He will be with us at the start of the show at 12:05. Normally on Tuesdays, we had Ollie Marmol throughout the season during that time slot. Baseball's postseason last night. The Brewers beat the Cubs again, 7-3. They go up 2-0 in that series. Dodgers are up 2-0 on the Phillies. They beat them last night, 4-3 in Philadelphia. Today, the American League Division Series, Game 3. It's tied 1-1 between the Mariners and the Tigers. Blue Jays at Yankees tonight at 7:08. Toronto's up 2-0 in that one. 31-28. Chiefs lose on Monday Night Football in Jacksonville. Jaguars got them with 30 seconds to go on a 1-yard run by Trevor Lawrence. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hi, it's Margaret from Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano. Life is change, an election, an illness, a death, and questions. What about my family, my retirement, my estate? Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano stand ready to help you plan for your life changes and protect what matters to you. They have listened, planned, and executed thousands of estate plans, taxes, and legal documents for over 30 years, right here in St. Louis. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano make it easy to get started. Go to their website, yourestateMatters.com, and request their free webinar. It focuses on simple legal strategies and their process. Then schedule your free personal consultation. Life is change. Plan now. Your estate matters because you matter. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com. The choice of an attorney is an important decision that should not be based solely on advertising.
Well, remember I was bragging about winning on Underdog recently. It was a great win for me. 4 pick package. Well, this time around did not come through last night. Speaking of the Chiefs game, I only got 1 out of the 3. Travis Kelce higher than 43.5 receiving yards. He had 61. I had Patrick Mahomes throwing at least 2 touchdown passes. He only had 1. I thought that Trevor Lawrence would go under. How about this one? Lower than 217.5 passing yards. He had 221. But I would have missed it anyway because I also had Hollywood Brown scoring a touchdown, and he didn't. That's the one that really was going to push me over the edge. But anyway, be back at it again. Maybe you would have picked differently. It's Underdog. It's very easy. You just choose which players will go higher or lower on stats, just like I described. You can select entries and win money. Download the app today, Underdog. Sign up with promo code TOM and score $100 in bonus funds or entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code TOM. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:21. Let's get you caught up on your ride in. Traffic and weather together. The weather starts to get really lovely these next few days, so stay tuned for that. Right now, it's time for the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center's Roger Brand.
Well, this traffic reports the service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, Debbie, and we have a jam on the Illinois side, westbound 5570, west of 255, most of the way into 111, bumper to bumper through there. Due to that emergency repair work that started yesterday morning, a little bit after this time, but between 6:30 and 7. And that'll be out there all week, so just be prepared. It'll be every day, unfortunately, this week. Northbound 55, a slowdown, maybe about a quarter mile into 67. The right lane's Butler Hill up to 270 or slow. Bayless up to River to Pears, busy. North 270, getting a little busier as you approach Clayton Road and Ladue. Eastbound 30, Mauer to 270. There's a little volume there. Southbound 61, north of Wentzville Parkway down to 64 is slow, but after you get on to 64 or 70, you're good to go. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis.
Need a new garage door? This could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Enter now at overheaddoorstllouis.com.
Shower, thunderstorm, and spots this morning. High 76 today. Cooler tonight. Lows in the 40s. Tomorrow, high 74. It's 69 right now.
It is 6:22 and the news continues on Total Information AM. Following Oregon's lead, Illinois and the city of Chicago suing the Trump administration to try to keep the National Guard troops out of the Windy City. Correspondent Rich Johnson reports that's just one of several developments in the battles over immigration enforcement.
The verbal war between Illinois Governor J.D. Pritzker and President Trump over the state of things in Chicago got very heated.
And then I listened to the governor and the mayor get up and say how they have it under control. They don't. It's probably worse than almost any city in the world.
Donald Trump's deranged depiction of Chicago as a hellhole, a war zone, and the worst and most dangerous city in the world was just complete BS.
Pritzker was joined by Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson in a news conference to announce the suit to keep any state's National Guard troops off the streets of Chicago. Federal Judge April Perry set a midnight Wednesday deadline for a response from the federal government and has scheduled a Thursday hearing. In the meantime, Mayor Johnson has signed a new executive order.
The order establishes ICE-free zones,
which means
city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
Like the raid last week in which ICE agents rappelled from helicopters onto the roof of a Chicago apartment building, forced entry into apartments, then took people from their homes. Meanwhile, in the Chicago suburb of Broadview, the mayor has signed an executive order limiting protests outside the ICE facility to between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. The leader of Illinois State House Republicans, Tony McCombie, tells WLS-TV that's a good idea.
And ICE has a right to protect their own property, and so they need some assistance.
As for the bigger picture, Governor Pritzker says calling out the National Guard is just political theater by the president.
To create the pretext for invoking the Insurrection Act so that he can send military troops to our city.
To which the president responds,
We have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that.
I'm Rich Johnson.
Monday, a federal judge denied the Justice's Department request to pause Kilmar Abrego Garcia's immigration case due to the government shutdown. The Maryland resident was deported to El Salvador, his country of origin, back in March in violation of a years-old ruling preventing him from being sent there due to safety concerns.
The Trump administration says this was a mistake and in June complied with the Supreme Court order to facilitate his return to the U.S., though it immediately charged him with human smuggling upon his return. Charges another federal judge says have a realistic likelihood of being vindictive. We get more from CBS's Camila Montoya Galvez.
Lawyers for Abrego Garcia have alleged over the past few months that the only reason the Justice Department filed criminal charges against their clients is because they had to admit that they made a legal mistake in deporting him to El Salvador, and that the prosecution, they allege, is vindictive and a form of punishment and retaliation against their client. A judge in Tennessee, a federal judge, has allowed that vindictive allegation to be explored through a discovery process that will continue.
2 votes in the Senate on Monday showed the battle lines are solidly against compromise, and the government shutdown enters another day with no signs of a deal in sight. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports President Trump remains hopeful on what has been a non-starter for Democrats.
2 measures to end the shutdown and fund the government failed on Monday for a 5th time in the Senate. A House-passed deal would keep the government open until November 21st, but Senate Democrats are not on board with that deal. As the shutdown reaches a week since it started, there are concerns among government employees like air traffic controllers and an already strained industry.
There's controllers that have called out sick, so we're tracking it, and I don't have a continual problem in one area, right? There's been one facility one day, another facility another day.
U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says that in some areas there's been a 50% reduction in staffing.
They're thinking about, am I going to get a paycheck? And so now what they think about as they're controlling our airspace is, how am I going to pay my mortgage? How do I make my car payment?
The blame game continues on Capitol Hill as Republicans blame Democrats, and Democratic leaders like House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries insist that his party's willing to come to the table.
Anytime, any place with anyone from your administration, including the president, to get a resolution here.
But the hiccup surrounds health care.
Premiums, copays, and deductibles for tens of millions of Americans are skyrocketing all across the country in a manner that will deprive people of health insurance or lead to medical bankruptcy.
President Donald Trump told reporters this week that the damage from a shutdown has been minimal to this point.
Up till now, there hasn't been a great deal of pain. There could be a great deal of pain, but up till now, there hasn't been. I will say this, just hang in there, because I think a lot of good things are going to happen.
And when asked whether or not negotiations can be made on health care,
we are speaking with the Democrats, and some very good things could happen with respect to health care.
House Speaker Mike Johnson canceled plans for the House to return to Washington this week. He said there's nothing left for them to negotiate and that the lower chamber has, quote, done its job. I'm Clayton Neville.
It is now 6:28. The time check is sponsored for you by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. Let's go. You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With a Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Let Banner Construction show you what a difference James Hardy can make to your home. Banner's exterior design team will show you custom design options to transform your home into the neighborhood showplace. Banner is a preferred James Hardy and Pella Windows specialist. With winter just around the corner, now is the time to think about Pella Windows for energy efficiency and comfort. Call Banner Construction 314-569-1050 to schedule your free in-home consultation, or the website bannerconstruction.com, and have a banner day.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. That's right, weight loss seminar at the Marriott St. Louis West in St. Louis at 11 a.m. Registration 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Registration 1:30 p.m.
Cloudy, 69 degrees downtown at the Arch at 6:30. I'm Tom Ackerman.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, and here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still have a considerable backup for Illinois drivers. Of course, that emergency repair work going on westbound 5570 just before 111 has a jam back pretty close to 255 now. So that's a couple miles of bumper-to-bumper stuff running through there. Of course, it's getting busier on several highways. Northbound 55 north of A, midway up to McNutt's a little slow. The right lane's Butler Hill up to 270. All lanes from the Union Road overpass to River to Pear getting a little more solid. It's a little busy on North 270 at Gravois, and let's call it Doherty Ferry all the way to Ladue, just kind of off the pace running through there. More volume coming in through the Lincoln County area. Southbound 61, you've got delays north of Highway P down onto 64, which is slow in pockets, all the way to a point east of Winghaven, but east of there, you're back on track. Westbound 64, a little busy Ball Avenue to the 70 split downtown as well. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sunrise at 7:02 this morning. It's humid out there, 93% humidity right now. AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says we're going to see a shower thunderstorm in spots this morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy today and not as warm as recent days. A high of 76 degrees. Now, for tonight, get your jacket out of the closet. It's going to be in the 40s in the coolest suburbs, 51 downtown at the Arch. And then tomorrow, pleasant with plenty of sun, a high of 74 degrees. Going to stay that way through at least Saturday. Right now, we're seeing some rain in the northern portion of our listening area, up near Bowling Green and Mexico, Missouri, all through that area, up into what is basically going up into Jacksonville, Illinois. But here in the immediate St. Louis area, not seeing any precipitation. It's 69 degrees.
United States postal deliveries aren't getting better. KMOX continues following developments. Customers still complaining they're not receiving their mail on time.
KMOX did extensive reporting on why people are not receiving mail, and the recurring answer seems to be the Postal Service has cut routes and taken all that mail and given it to another carrier who is then supposed to deliver 2 routes within an 8-hour period. Illinois Congresswoman Nikki Brzezinski launched a bipartisan Postal Service caucus.
These are impossible circumstances or situations for the workforce to be dealing with, and I think it's a reflection of some of the policy choices that started in the last administration and we're seeing continue around the Delivering for America plan that then Postmaster General DeJoy rolled out, this Regional Transportation Optimization Plan, often referred to as the RTO. It basically would change the schedule with which a truck is full and when a letter carrier can move that mail out.
Maria Kina, KMOX News.
An argument that led to a shooting behind the Jimmy John's at Vandeventer and Laclede on the SLU campus leaves 1 person dead and 1 wounded. Police say the shooting victims were 16 and 20 years old, were not college students. Police say there was no threat to the campus.
A Maryland Heights office building once occupied by Centene could soon become a wellness center for city and county police officers and their families. The St. Louis Police Foundation has a building on Borman Drive under contract, and according to the Post-Dispatch, wants to transform the 94,000 square foot building into a place that enhances morale, recruitment, retention, and overall health of police officers and retirees. It could include a gymnasium with basketball courts, dining room, offices, as well as rehab services, behavioral health care, and wellness programs.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We'll check your money minute next.
Cardinal Cowboy here. After a coma, a miracle, and the fight of my life, I made it back to the games wearing my signature cowboy hat and jersey. Then came the baseball pants, the replica trophy, and the smiles and joy from the young fans. That's when the Cardinal Cowboy was born. Renner Garage Door knows how to bring joy to. With top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, and family service you can trust, get your free repair or replacement quote today. Forward and back. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
Hey, Bethesda volunteer Dave Glover here. Winter is right around the corner, and that means shoveling snow and preparing your house for the cold. Why not let Bethesda help you enjoy the season without the hassle of home maintenance? Bethesda Orchard in Webster Groves is an active and vibrant retirement community where residents spend time doing the things they want to do, not the things they have to do. And they have this beautiful backyard garden with walking paths that the residents take care of themselves. Extremely impressive. To learn more about Bethesda Orchard or any of the Bethesda retirement communities, go to BethesdaHealth.org.
It is 6:35. It is time for Your Money Report, which is sponsored for you by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. OpenAI is making it easier for folks to use outside apps within ChatGPT. Users can now connect with a number of third-party services while using the chatbot. OpenAI calls the feature Talking to Apps, and Spotify, Zillow, Expedia, and Booking.com are available. OpenAI now has more than 800 million weekly ChatGPT users. Turning to today's trade, stocks are slipping this morning, halting 7 straight days of gains for the S&P 500. S&P futures are down 3 points, Dow futures falling 75. Yesterday, the S&P 500 hit a new record fueled by tech stocks. And Ford faces months of disruptions to its business after a major fire last month at an aluminum plant in upstate New York. The automaker is the biggest customer of the factory. According to the Wall Street Journal, a significant portion of the facility will be out of action until early next year. Ford's F-Series relies on aluminum from the factory. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
House stealing. It's a nightmare that's real. It's the FBI's term for thieves stealing your home's title and draining your equity. Just one fake document filed with a recorder, and scammers can own your home on paper, drain your equity, and do it all without you even knowing. Imagine waking up to a foreclosure or eviction notice. Listen to former title thief Matt Cox.
What people don't realize is the ease in which this crime can happen. I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name. It's a great crime, and it's happening all the time.
So how can you stop the nightmare and protect yourself? Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO and get a 30-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Don't wait. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now, promo code RADIO.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are discussing breast cancer with Dr. Debbie Bennett with Washington University School of Medicine and Siteman Cancer Center. Dr. Bennett, thank you very much for being with us.
You're welcome. Happy to be here.
Tell us about Siteman's mammography van and what it offers to the community.
The van is a really important of our mammography program, and it goes out into the community to meet people where they are physically located for those people that are not able to travel to one of our sites. It goes throughout the community. It goes to both corporate sites and also to some of our harder to reach communities. And the idea is to provide equal access to quality care for everybody.
Dr. Bennett, thank you so much for the time.
You're welcome.
To see the upcoming schedule of the van, just go to Siteman's website or call 314-747-7222. Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-384-9393. That's 800-384-9393.
If you're still waiting for a sign, here's another one. At California Psychics, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work for us. So we only connect you with the best. That's how we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Dramatic sound effect incoming.
Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
The countdown to kickoff starts here. Friday's focus on Mizzou, the Chiefs, and the NFL. Only on KMOX.
Hey, it's 640. Roger Brand, what's the latest out there? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're jammed, Tom, on westbound of 5570 right now at 255 in through 111 due to that road work that's going to be going on all week out there. This traffic report's a service of Financial and Tax Strategies, so just be prepared if you're headed that way. It's not getting any better, and it's going to be this way, like I said, for the rest of the week. It even backed up in the afternoon yesterday, not quite as extensively, but still was heavy. Northbound 55, if you got slow stuff in the right lane, south of Butler Hill to 270, all lanes backed up Union to River to Pear, north 270, Sappington through Gravois, north of 44 all the way up to Ladue, just kind of slow the whole way through. Southbound 270, south of Olive to Ladue is busy. A lot of volume coming down out of Lincoln County. Southbound 61W midway down to P. We had a minor crash before P. They cleared it, but it remains heavy from P onto 64 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard, and then 364 all the way in through Winghaven after that. South 270 coming past 70, and McKelvey looks a little busy over in the northwest corner, and it's a little volume eastbound 44 past the Poplar downtown. Next update at 650 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Retirement shouldn't feel like balancing a checkbook while blindfolded. I'm Gary Goldberg, and my team helps you see the big picture so you can retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Because guessing is not a strategy. Tune in to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
It is 6:41. Let's get you updated on the forecast. Our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg, is here to tell us that it's actually going to feel a bit more fall-like.
Yeah, temperatures are actually going to be more representative of the first couple of weeks of October. From today forward, cold front is working its way through the area. We've been watching this area of thunderstorms passing through north central and northeastern sections of Missouri into central Illinois. Almost all of these going to stay to the north of the city. So outside of a spotty shower or thunderstorm, we get away with virtually no rain whatsoever, nothing of consequence. Lots of clouds today. That'll keep temperatures in the mid-70s. The sky's clear tonight behind the front, and by morning, we're down in the mid to upper 40s in many suburbs, 51 downtown at the Arch. That'll lead into a beautiful day with sunshine tomorrow. Low humidity, very comfortable, about 74. Mostly sunny for Thursday, the high 72. Plenty of sunshine. We start a bit of a warming trend Friday, the high 77, back up near 80 with some sun on Saturday. Currently 68 at St. Peter's, 72 in Florissant. It's cloudy and 72 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Joe, thank you. It's 6:43. A local politician is taking a special interest in the next Super Bowl halftime show.
St. Louis City Alderwoman Daniela Velasquez is from Puerto Rico. Like Latin music superstar Bad Bunny, she was delighted to hear that he was the halftime show performer for Super Bowl 60.
The market is changing. One, the NFL is clearly going after a Latin American audience because they've just done 2 games back-to-back, 2 years in a row in Brazil. They just did Karol G.
Few of them were on drugs.
Bad Bunny hosted SNL over the weekend. He made a joke that celebrities have been coming to his shows, including St. Louis and John Hamm. Hamm can be seen dancing in a video, then appeared in the SNL crowd. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Snubbed for the Super Bowl halftime show? On last night's Tonight Show on NBC, Taylor Swift suggested she may have gotten an offer and turned it down.
This has nothing to do with Travis. He would love for me to do it.
The deal breaker, her footballing fiance.
I am in love with a guy who does that sport on that actual field.
And that means
I am locked in on what that man is doing on the field.
Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News, New York.
A Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band from Canada ready to hit the road.
Rush is going on tour. It comes 5 years after drummer Neil Peart died of glioblastoma. Rush co-founders Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson say it's a 12-date, 7-city tour and will kick off in June 2026 at the Kia Forum in Los Angeles. The reunion tour will end in Cleveland, and taking Neil Peart's place is award-winning German composer and producer Annika Niles. She has previously toured with Jeff Beck. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
That'll be music to the ears of hockey fans, shall we say. They'll be excited about that. The Blues start in a couple of days at Enterprise Center against the Wild. We had Blues chairman Tom Stillman on the show yesterday, the Gas House Gang. Today's guest is the long-awaited, I should say, debut of Chaim Bloom. The Cardinals president of baseball operations will be with us today on the Gas House Gang, taking our questions and yours for a half hour. He is going to join us on the Gas House Gang today at 12:05 is when it starts. Chris Ranji will join me. Bernie Miklasz is on the show today. You can watch it on Facebook, X, YouTube, and, of course, listen to it right here on KMOX. As for the playoffs yesterday, got off to a great start for the Chicago Cubs. It was Seiya Suzuki with a 3-run homer in the top of the first to put the Cubs up 3-0. You could hear the Cubs fans hollering inside American Family Field in Milwaukee. They were having a good time until the bottom of the first when the Brewers answered. That's what they do. Here it is, the call on 620 WTMJ.
3 balls, 2 strikes and 2 away. Imanaga checks his runners. Here's the pitch. Fly ball, left field. Happ on the warning track. Happ at the wall. It's gone!
Wow. It's loud in there. It's 3-3 after 1 inning. In the bottom of the third, guess what? Brewers, William Contreras did this.
1-1 is a fly ball deep left field. This is way back. Bye-bye baseball. William Contreras admiring a solo blast to left. It puts the Brewers on top 4-3.
And we move to the fourth inning. 2 on. It's Jackson Chourio at the plate. Can the Cardinals have some of these power hitters? That would be great. Bottom of the fourth.
Palencia's 0-2 pitch. And a fly ball to center. Hit well. PCA's back at the track. Wall. Gone! The lights are never too bright for the 21-year-old Jackson Chourio. A 3-run blast. It is 7-3 Milwaukee.
Remember when I told you the Cubs started with a 3-run homer by Suzuki? They never scored again. The Brewers beat them 7-3 last night, taking a commanding 2-0 lead in the best-of-5 National League Division Series. Game 3 is tomorrow at Wrigley Field. The Dodgers are also up 2-0, and they get to go home up 2-0. They beat the Phillies twice in Philadelphia, and they did it twice with a magical 7th inning, scoring 3 runs on Saturday, and yesterday 4 runs in the 7th to take a 4-0 lead, and they held on for a 4-3 win over the Phillies. The American League Series resumed today. 3:08 start for the Mariners and the Tigers in Detroit. That series is even at a game apiece. Logan Gilbert pitches for Seattle. It's going to be Jack Flaherty pitching for Detroit, the former Cardinal. Shane Bieber takes the mound for the Blue Jays tonight at Yankee Stadium, trying to close out the Yanks. They're up 2-0 in that series. Carlos Rodon is the starting pitcher for the Bronx Bombers. Chiefs lost to the Jaguars last night on Monday Night Football, 31-28 in Jacksonville. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
This is Tom Becker with Climate Masters. We don't just sell air conditioners, we sell comfort. We sell solutions. We sell a job well done, and we fix bad jobs. Climate Masters, because you need someone you can trust, someone who earns your respect and 5-star reviews. Climate Masters, selling high-quality Carrier air conditioners. Turn to the experts. Climate Masters, quality work for over 40 years. Just type in Climate Masters and give us a call.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley for i3 Broadband, the internet provider in the Pauley household. I think you'd love it if you had them as well. We've got the 2 gig package at our home, 2 gig upload, 2 gig download mirrored, and we're spending less money than we did with the cable company for lesser service. Plus, right now, they've got savings over $400 beyond their already low standard pricing. You got questions? They've got answers. Call 877-976-0711, and they've got people there who can answer all your questions, or head to their website, i3broadband.com.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. We can reawaken any space to make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Red Kingdom is back at FanDuel Sports Network Live in Ballpark Village. See every game on the largest screen in town. Don't forget about the $25 buckets, $5 cocktails, and the best tailgate food around. Grab your friends along with KMOX and huddle up for the games at the best watch party in town. If you can't make it, but don't want to miss it down, listen to the Chiefs on KMOX or KMOX on the Odyssey app. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 6:50 and time to check traffic and weather. Here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got a couple of new crashes out there, Debbie. This traffic reports the service of Valvoline Instant Oil Change. One of them's northbound 109, under 44. It looks to me like the left lanes are blocked. Not much of a backup there. We had an earlier crash, southbound 61 north of Highway P. They cleared it, but someone ran into the back of the jam. So now there's a crash, southbound 61 midway between W and Highway P. The jam at W. It's still slow south of P onto 64 in pockets all the way through Winghaven. Northbound 270 slows your ramp on from 55 up toward Gravois, and 44 all the way to Ladue. South 270 Olive to Ladou's busy. Northbound 55 approaching 67's heavy. The right lane slow getting onto North 270. North of the Union Road overpass up the river to Pear backed up. And of course downtown we have that jam. Westbound 5570, 255 most of the way to 111. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Service you can see, experts you can trust.
At Valvoline Instant Oil Change, we perform an 18-point maintenance check with every oil change to help make sure you're good to go.
And
you're good to go. We'd let you know if we found something in our check. Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Thorough and honest, come with no charge.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says we're going to have a shower thunderstorm in spots this morning. Otherwise, a humid day. Not as warm, though, as recent days. A high of 76. Humidity right now is 93%. The sunrise is in 10 minutes. I know it's getting darker and darker as your commute goes along this morning. Clearer and much cooler. Lows ranging from the 40s in the coolest suburbs to 51 downtown at the Arch. Pleasant, plenty of sun tomorrow, high 74. It's 69 right now.
The news continues at 6:52. The governor of Illinois says the Trump administration is orchestrating a problem and hoping to incite violence. Missouri Governor Kehoe supports what's happening.
We definitely have to clean it up. We know what illegal immigrants are doing to our country and, in our case, into the state of Missouri.
Illinois, California, and Oregon are fighting the deployment of the National Guard to help ICE. Kehoe says the only holdup in Missouri has been what he calls the Chuck Schumer shutdown.
Those are Missouri National Guardsmen that are going to assist at several ICE offices across the state. Kind of on the back end and processing piece was actually a request, I should say, from Kristi Noem.
Former D.C. journalist expects lawmakers could hold out any spending compromise for the next couple of weeks. John Shaw, director of the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute at SIU Carbondale, tells KMOX he doubts there will be much compromise to end the government shutdown.
There may be a face-saving formula, but it doesn't seem like Donald Trump wants to, give the Democrats any easy retreat. So, I mean, if I had to guess how this is going to end, I think it's more likely to end with the Democrats backing down than the White House backing down.
Shaw points out in President Trump's first term, a government shutdown lasted more than a month.
Missouri's apple orchards are feeling the heat. The warm, dry conditions have pushed up harvest for some growers. Norman Reza of Reza Orchard in northern Missouri says their trees are thirsty.
We do irrigate during the summer, but we usually stop irrigating approximately 1st of August. We just never had any rains during August and September.
He tells MissouriNet it's been so hot and dry, the apples have been dropping to the ground, leading to some loss. Reza Orchard in Lexington has been in operation for 103 years. They also won this year's Missouri State Fair Apple Contest.
It's 6:54.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
The birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Happy birthday wishes going out to Todd Favor. Enjoy Medicare. That's from your Freeburg friend and classmate. Brock Ayers, happy 65th birthday from your daughters, Catherine, Caroline, Amelia, and Sarah. Dale Yonker is celebrating today. And happy birthday going out to Kim Franks.
John Mellencamp. It's a soundtrack of my college experience at Indiana University. He still lives in Bloomington. 74 years ago, he was born. That's Lonely Old Night. It is 6:55.
This is the best birthday ever.
Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best, chesterfieldfence.com. Love Chesterfield Fence and Deck and all the great people there. They have a wonderful service, and that is fences and decks. Oh, wait, they have more than that. They have sunrooms. They have patios. They have pergolas. They have retaining walls. They have screen rooms. Man, think about outdoor living. Our best months are ahead of us here with October, with the weather cooling down, and November, those great, great outdoor living months. And not to mention spring and summer coming around. It's going to be a great time to put your project together with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They have a great company that has been in business since 1968, 57 years in business. One of St. Louis's top names in home improvement and the top name when it comes to outdoor living. Skilled installation teams who carry out their mission to be the very best in customer service. Check them out. I would recommend checking out the showroom in Chesterfield. You'll love it. It's like walking through someone's neighborhood. The Better Business Bureau accredited business with an A+ rating. In fact, they are a BBB Torch Award winner. They're Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Mention me, Tom Ackerman. You'll receive a special discount for the month of October, 20% off your next outdoor project. That's a lot. With Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
Lover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Because we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see lots of lawyers' ads. Most seem to be bragging on results, but are they true or misleading? For example, in some cases, a firm may try a case even though the at-fault party has no lawyer, then brag in the ad about their results. My son Matt got one for nearly $50 million, but we never collected one dime. Some lawyers may say they got a result even though they were sitting second chair at a firm like mine, and even though they had little to do with it. Happens all the time. All that glitters is not gold. At Morgan & Morgan, our results are real. Visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts to see for yourself what your case may be worth before you hire a law firm. Do your homework. Fact check. It's easy and too important not to. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Let's check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, downtown, we're bumper to bumper backed up on westbound 5570. I guess we'll call it west of 157, most of the way to 111. Road work in the right lanes that'll be out there all week is the culprit, and it's not going to change until later on Friday. Northbound 55 approaching 67 is busy. The right lanes around Mattis, Bayless, so Weber area is a little slow. 270 from 55 up to Tesson Ferry is busy. North of Big Bend up to Ladue is slow. We have that crash southbound 61 midway between W and P. It's jammed back across the Big Creek now, coming down out of Lincoln County. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Cloudy, 69 degrees downtown at the Arch. It is 6:59. I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories making news.
The will of Missouri voters once again has been overturned, but this time by the Missouri Supreme Court. I'm Maria Keenan with the story.
I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Sean Malone. St. Louis County is considering their options for where their next headquarters might be.
The market is about $29 a square foot.
I've got that story coming up.
Air traffic controllers are warned to keep working through the government shutdown amid a rise in sickouts.
Ceremonies marking 2 years since the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A stray shower or thunderstorm this morning, otherwise mostly cloudy today with a high of 76.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Day 7 and the government shutdown is catching up with travelers.
Planes are closed, ground's closed, locals closed. The tower is closed due to staffing.
Flights canceled and delayed at Hollywood Burbank Airport for a few hours while the air traffic control tower was unmanned. Correspondent Chris Van Cleve reports from Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport.
Staffing issues, including sick calls, hit several major airports and ATC centers on day 6 of the government shutdown, with staffing at some facilities down by 50%.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy reminding,
these air traffic controllers, they're critical infrastructure. They're critical to the operation of the federal government. So they're required to show up for work.
They won't get paid until the shutdown is over. The Supreme Court hears arguments today on state bans on conversion therapy for LGBTQ children. Kaylee Childs is the Christian counselor who filed the suit.
We as counselors know that we should not be imposing our values on our clients. The problem right now is that Colorado is using me to impose their values on my client.
Curtis Lopez Galloway went to conversion therapy when he was 16.
They have a duty to make sure that they're following ethics and make sure they're following actual scientific practices.
In Israel, they're remembering Hamas attack 2 years ago today that killed more than 1,200 people. This man spoke in Jerusalem.
We have 48 hostages who are still waiting to come home. This should be the top priority.
A total of 251 were taken hostage. Illegal crossings along the Mexican border have dropped to their lowest level since 1970.
Federal statistics obtained by CBS News show Border Patrol agents nabbed 238,000 migrants crossing the border illegally in the fiscal year that ended last week. That's a huge drop from the record 2.2 million apprehensions made in 2022. The Trump administration has shut down Biden-era programs that allowed some migrants who entered the U.S. illegally to stay.
On our southern border, we have successfully repelled a colossal invasion.
The ACLU is challenging the administration's border policies in court, calling them inhumane and draconian. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
A pilot, a nurse, and a paramedic are in critical condition after a medical helicopter crashed on Highway 50 in Sacramento, California last night. One was stuck beneath the chopper. Fire Captain Justin Sylvia.
That one person that was trapped, the captain immediately sequestered the help of just civilians that were standing around. They were able to lift part of that helicopter out and get that victim out.
The cause of the crash is under investigation. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
It is 7:04, and right now we've got cloudy skies at 68 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Senator Josh Hawley says he was a target of FBI surveillance for his actions surrounding the 2020 election. More from KMOX's Michael Calhoun.
Hawley is reacting to a document showing his phone data was collected for the Arctic frost investigation, the probe that led to the special counsel's case against President Trump. The document from the FBI's Cellular Analysis Survey team indicates the data collection happened in 2023 and also targeted 8 other Republican lawmakers. In his statement, Hawley accused the previous administration's FBI of working to, quote, destroy democracy, and is demanding to know who ordered the surveillance.
If you are still having trouble receiving regular mail deliveries from the Postal Service, you are not alone. KMOX has been reporting on these issues for months.
KMOX told you about postal routes being reduced, meaning mail carriers have to deliver their routes plus the one that no longer has a regular carrier. Then the audit of the St. Louis Distribution Center revealed even more problems. Illinois Congresswoman Nikki Baczynski says there needs to be a postmaster general in Washington who is committed to making sure that the needed investments are made into the distribution centers and into the workforce.
To make sure that folks are getting their mail on time. It is exactly why I launched the Bipartisan Postal Service Caucus, where we want to be laser focused on improving on-time mail delivery rates.
The federal agency faces an uncertain future under the Trump administration. David Steiner is the new postmaster general. He replaced Louis DeJoy. Maria Aquino, KMOX News.
Also in the news this morning, it's happened again. Voters pass a law and it's overturned, but not by the Missouri legislature. This time, the Missouri Supreme Court. Missourians voted to have felony marijuana records expunged. But now the state's high court reduces the definition of a marijuana offense for purposes of expungement to only cases involving possession of less than 3 ounces of marijuana or cases involving distribution of 3 ounces or less of marijuana. Dan Vietz is with the Missouri affiliate of the National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Laws, or NORML.
Before 2000, felony cases are now not likely to be able to have them expunged under Article 14, despite the fact that it clearly says for all Class A, B, C, and D felonies over 3 pounds, the circuit courts shall expunge them.
Vietz says the dissenting justice on Missouri's court says it's difficult to reconcile this new definition of a marijuana offense with what is clearly written in the article that Missouri voters passed.
St. Louis County's headquarters remain in limbo with no path forward.
The county must make their Clayton headquarters fire code compliant by the end of 2027 or move out. St. Louis County Councilman Dennis Hancock says they are beginning to explore possibly renting space, but acknowledges that could be costly.
You know, the market is about $29 a square foot. So it's not cheap.
County Executive Sam Page for years has urged constructing a new headquarters, citing the costly renovations needed to the current building beyond retrofitting a sprinkler system. Councilman Dennis Hancock says they are still waiting to hear what the cost of just the retrofitting is before making a decision. In a statement to KMOX, a spokesperson for County Executive Page says the cost would be $103 million for a fire suppression system, and they don't think any council member besides Hancock has the appetite for that. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The Business Desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, the Wildwood-based company that makes the slot machines popping up in gas stations and convenience stores all over the state, ran out of luck last night. A federal jury, after a week-long trial, found that Torch Electronics made false statements when it claimed its machines didn't fit any definition of a gambling device. As St. Louis Magazine reports, the jury sided with TNT Amusements, which makes similar devices without the gambling element. They contend they were crowded out of the market because of unfair business practices by Torch.
We're going to check the roadways and see if there are any problems on your ride in, and also the weather, which is cooling off nicely. Both of those on the way next. It's 7:08.
The legendary Fast Eddie of Fast Eddie's Bon Air and Redbirds Hall of Famer Jason Isringhausen.
Hey, Izzy, what's going on, man? Looks kind of like you got something on your mind.
Well, Eddie boy, I'm thinking you may need to change the name of your place from Fast Eddie's to $5 Eddie.
$5 Eddie? Man, why in the world would I call it $5 Eddie?
Well, I was in there the other day and bought myself the coldest beer I've ever had in my life, and I gave the guy $5. And then I went over and got some of those huge cold water peel and eat shrimps, and I gave her $5.
Well, I never really thought about that. There's a lot of $5 going on in there.
And then I went back up and got one of those huge Fast Eddie cheeseburgers, and I gave them $5 again.
Man, definitely has a ring to it. I think there's a lot of $5 going on.
Yeah, and I had about $100 worth of good time.
Well, that's good to hear, and it's easy to do with live music 7 days a week and a big old party going on that big, beautiful outdoor patio.
Well, like Mr. Shannon always says, if you're 21 and in the mood, head on over to Fast Eddie's Bon Air in Alton, Illinois, and maybe take a selfie on that old Harley Davidson of mine.
Who else has got a Cardinal Hall of Famer's Harley Davidson sitting out on the patios for some selfies?
Only Eddie boy.
Have you been notified that your subsidy for Obamacare health insurance is going away? Well, you can leave now while you're still healthy and qualify for much better individual plans. Greg Hammonds at greghammonds.com has been helping people get affordable health insurance with great coverage for over 35 years. Greg offers private health insurance plans that are not on the ACA marketplace. You can pick your doctors. For most claims, you won't even pay a deductible, and they're 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. One more thing, there's no tax penalty at the end of the year. Greg even has plans that are guaranteed acceptance. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan by you, not the government.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's check back in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, we still have a jam. Obviously, it's not going to change all morning. Westbound 5570 jammed, approaching 255 most of the way into 111, just crawling through there in that work zone. More folks look like they may be using westbound 270 as an alternate. It's starting to bog down from 203 up to Route 3, and there's several points on southbound Route 3. Of course, they're doing paving work between 270 into Granite City, several points where it's bumper to bumper for brief stretches on southbound Route 3 if you're thinking about that as the alternate. Still working this crash, southbound 61 south of W. Traffic's jammed back to Highway U. Once you get past that point, it opens up, but eastbound 64 is on the brakes from 364 into Winghaven. Still working the crash, northbound 109 at 44, only the right lane's open, a little bit of a jam up there. Northbound 55, heavy traffic north of 67. The right lane's at Butler Hill, a little busy at Bayless. North 270 slows your ramp on from 55, Tesson Ferry to Gravois, and then from 44 most of the way up to Ladue. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, a shower or thunderstorm in spots this morning, otherwise mostly cloudy today and not as warm as recent days, the high 76. Clearing tonight and much cooler. Will drop to 44 in the coolest suburbs, 51 downtown at the Arch. A nice day tomorrow with lots of sunshine, the high 74. Thursday, plenty of sunshine, the high 72. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, we officially have cloudy skies, a little breezy, 68 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
Let me be clear. Donald Trump is using our service members as political props and as pawns in his illegal effort to militarize our nation's cities.
Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker condemning the tactics used by federal agents.
Since the beginning of this invasion, families have been snatched up off the streets or removed from their homes, zip-tied and detained for hours, including especially U.S. citizens and legal residents of our state. And in the words of CBP Chief Patrol Agent Greg Bavino, they're being chosen by how they look.
Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe was asked what he thinks of Governor Pritzker's contention that the Trump administration is the one creating the chaos in Chicago.
Well, it's insane. I mean, Chicago is absolutely a mess.
Kehoe tells 97.1 that people, especially the business community, support what is happening with ICE and militarized enforcement.
The businesses in downtown Chicago would like things to get a little bit more in line. So what you're seeing, what they're treating the ICE officers like on the news, and it's just unacceptable.
The Illinois Restaurant Association, Chicago Loop Alliance, and Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce have all expressed concerns about the deployment, creating fear and hurting business. Some businesses, especially Latino ones, report business down anywhere from 20 to 50%.
But Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling is cautioning protesters not to box in federal agents.
Federal agents, ICE, HSI, are officers. They are agents of law enforcement. If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed and that this could end in a deadly situation.
Republican State Representative C.D. Davidsmeyer of West Central Illinois says Governor Pritzker is more concerned about building his progressive national image than he is about protecting families.
Keep in mind that Pritzker has had the National Guard on standby during last year's Democratic National Convention in Chicago to protect Democrat bigwigs, but he opposes calling in the National Guard to protect Chicagoans now.
But, it gets into camp for a while, and, the exhibition games are, I think they're really interesting, but they're kind of strange to analyze because guys are on different schedules and agendas, rightfully. And, there's a lot of talk and a lot of work, and then at some point you just...
That's Chairman Tom Stillman of the St. Louis Blues on the Gas House Gang yesterday. He said he was ready to start this season 2 weeks ago. Well, they're 2 days away. The Blues open the season Thursday night against the Minnesota Wild.
Let's play the games. Come on, let's go.
And I imagine Jim Montgomery has that exact same feeling. And he's, he had his first training camp here with the Blues and preseason, obviously coming in November, after the season had already started last year. So to have a different look going into training camp and then going into the regular season, what sort of difference do you think that will make on the ice?
I think it'll make a significant difference. Just as an example, we saw, Monty came in and had no time when he started last year. But then when we had the league break for the Four Nations tournament, he had, just a few days of practice, uninterrupted day, several days in a row. And that made a difference, as we saw after the break. So when you extrapolate that to having a full training camp and being able to, institute everything he wants to down to the details, I think that will make a difference. Everything from X's and O's to kind of the broader culture.
Blues and Wild on Thursday night at Enterprise Center to start the season. Today on Gas House Gang at 12:05, we'll be joined by Cardinals President of Baseball Operations, Chaim Bloom. He will be with us for a half hour today. Bernie Miklas, Chris Ranji, and me. He'll take our questions and yours on X, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as right here on KMOX in the noon hour. Make sure you join us. That has been a long anticipated visit. Chaim Bloom and the Gas House Gang. MLB postseason last night. The Brewers went up 2-0 in their series with the Cubs, beating them 7-3 yesterday. The Cubs opened with a 3-run homer in the top of the first by Seiya Suzuki and never scored again. The Cubs only had 4 hits on the night. The Brewers answered with a 3-run homer in the bottom of the first, and then a run in the third, 3 in the fourth. They win it 7-3. The Dodgers had a magical 7th inning again. They scored 4 runs in the 7th at Philadelphia and held on for a 4-3 win. They take a 2-0 series lead. The Mariners and Tigers are even at a game apiece. They play in Detroit today at 3:08. Blue Jays at Yankees. That's happening tonight at 7:08. Toronto's up 2-0 in that series. They've scored 23 runs in the first 2 games of that series. The Jaguars beat the Chiefs last night on Monday Night Football. They had a 99-yard interception return for a touchdown, and they had a 1-yard touchdown run at the end. Trevor Lawrence stumbled, fell down, got up, scored the game-winning touchdown with 30 seconds to go, and the Jaguars improved to 4-1. The Chiefs are 2-3. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Let Banner Construction show you what a difference James Hardy can make to your home. Banner's exterior design team will show you custom design options to transform your home into the neighborhood showplace. Banner is a preferred James Hardy and Pella Windows specialist. With winter just around the corner, now is the time to think about Pella Windows for energy efficiency and comfort. Call Banner Construction, 314-569-1050 to schedule your free in-home consultation, or the website bannerconstruction.com, and have a banner day.
It's the most inspiring night in sports, the Musial Awards at Stiefel Theater. You can be in the audience for this nationally televised event from St. Louis. Named for Stan the Man, the Musial Awards celebrate those who uplift us through their extraordinary sportsmanship. Experience the remarkable moments and people that make this an event like no other. The Musial Awards, presented by Maryville University, Saturday, November 22nd. Tickets at musialawards.com.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine. You could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt, but you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market for a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Well, not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. And listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. So that's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. You cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. So imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt and stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. You get an all-cash offer now by calling 1-855-300-9993. You can also visit TrueHold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
7:20, and it looks like it's getting a little dark out there. So we do have a chance of a shower or thunderstorm in spots this morning. And I know we do have rain in the general vicinity. So we'll get you updated on that in just a moment. But first, here's Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the emergency crews went back in service, Debbie, it looks like, for the crash northbound 109 under 44, but the left lane still closed. Looks like the two right lanes are open now, so not as much of an issue, but there's still delays there. If you're on northbound 55, it's a little busy approaching 67 and through Highway A. The right lane's Butler Hill to 270. All lanes Bayless up to River to Pear. North 270 ramping on from 55, so it's generally slow all the way to Ladue. South 270, only Olive to Ladue busy right now. Southbound 61, still have this crash just south of W. They're trying to wrap up. Traffic's jammed just north of Highway U. Once you get past that point, it's slow both sides of Winghaven, a little busy at Clarkson. If you're on eastbound 70 as an alternate route coming in there instead of 64, it's just a little slow. 79 to Mid Rivers, a little busy around Cave Springs and around 270, just a couple of slow spots. Downtown, we still have this jam, 5570 westbound, west of 157, most of the way into 111 due to the roadwork. 64, 25th Street up to the 70 split, a couple of slowdowns, and westbound 270, a little bit of a backup approaching 203. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Joe Lundberg's forecast, it's going to be cooler today and a chance of a thunderstorm in spots this morning. A high today of only 76. Going to be really cool tonight. Lows ranging from 44 in the suburbs to 51 downtown. Plenty of sun tomorrow, high 74. Thursday, sunny, high 72. Friday, 77. Saturday, we are back up to 80. Currently, it's cloudy, 68 downtown at the Arch. Weather sponsored by Lion's Choice, where you can enjoy a quick and delicious meal but make it healthy with plenty of low-cal, low-carb, vegetarian, and gluten-free options. There's something to satisfy everyone on the Lion's Choice menu. Stop by today, Lion's Choice.
The news continues at 7:22. 2 votes in the Senate Monday showed the battle lines are solidly against compromise, and the government shutdown enters another day with no signs of a deal in sight. Correspondent Clayton Neville reports President Trump remains hopeful on what has been a non-starter for Democrats.
2 measures to end the shutdown and fund the government failed on Monday for a 5th time in the Senate. A House-passed deal would keep the government open until November 21st, but Senate Democrats are not on board with that deal. As the shutdown reaches a week since it started, there are concerns among government employees like air traffic controllers in an already strained industry.
There's controllers that have called out sick, so we're tracking it, and I don't have a continual problem in one area, right? There's been, one facility one day, another facility another day.
U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says that in some areas there's been a 50% reduction in staffing.
They're thinking about, am I going to get a paycheck? And so now what they think about as they're controlling our airspace is, how am I going to pay my mortgage? How do I make my car payment?
The blame game continues on Capitol Hill as Republicans blame Democrats, and Democratic leaders like House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries insist that his party's willing to come to the table.
Anytime, any place with anyone from your administration, including the president, to get a resolution here.
But the hiccup surrounds health care.
Premiums, copays, and deductibles for tens of millions of Americans are skyrocketing all across the country in a manner that will deprive people of health insurance or lead to medical bankruptcy.
President Donald Trump told reporters this week that the damage from a shutdown has been minimal to this point.
Up till now, there hasn't been a great deal of pain. There could be a great deal of pain, but up till now, there hasn't been. I will say this, just hang in there, because I think a lot of good things are going to happen.
And when asked whether or not negotiations can be made on health care,
we are speaking with the Democrats, and some very good things could happen with respect to health care.
House Speaker Mike Johnson canceled plans for the House to return to Washington this week. He said there's nothing left for them to negotiate and that the lower chamber has, quote, done its job. I'm Clayton Neville.
In the Middle East, talks are ongoing in Cairo in an effort to enact President Trump's plan to end the war in Gaza and return all hostages to Israel. Correspondent Sam Mednick reports that today's talks come exactly 2 years to the day that Hamas attacked Israel, killing over 1,200 Israelis, taking more than 250 others hostage, which began the Israel-Hamas war.
After 2 years of devastating war in Gaza, there is some hope at a breakthrough. Israel and Hamas are in Egypt meeting with mediators to discuss President Donald Trump's plan. But there is still a lot of questions and uncertainty, and there is no clear way out. While Israel has clobbered its enemies in the Middle East, it hasn't achieved its war goals in Gaza. Hamas has been weakened, but it's not defeated, and there are still hostages that remain there. Hamas has said that it is willing to release the hostages, but it hasn't addressed the issue of disarmament, something that Israel has demanded. Hamas still has influence in dwindled areas of Gaza that are flattened and largely depopulated. And while Israel has had victories, it has come at a huge cost. The country is largely isolated on the global stage more than it's been in recent years. Rights groups and experts have accused it of committing genocide, something that Israel rejects. One of Hamas's goals in attacking on October 7th was to bring the plight of the Palestinians back to the global stage, and it has achieved that. Some Western countries have recognized a Palestinian state, making it extremely hard for that to become a reality. After 2 years of war, tens of thousands of Palestinians in Gaza have been killed. 90% of the population has been displaced, some multiple times, and Israel controls 75% of the territory. And it's unclear how Gaza will rebuild.
The CDC is following the lead of its advisory group and has now officially stopped recommending the COVID-19 vaccine for anyone. So what does that mean?
While not recommending the COVID shot for anyone, it does say that people can get vaccinated for COVID-19 after consulting a healthcare provider. According to the CDC, vaccine decisions, especially for seniors, should involve checking with a doctor, nurse, or pharmacist. Up until now, it was recommended that anyone 6 months and older get a booster as COVID continues to evolve. Experts are warning the changes could limit access and place some populations at greater risk. The CDC also recommends that those under 4 years old receive the chickenpox shot separately from the measles, mumps, and rubella shot. There's a single shot that contains all four, but it carries a higher risk of fevers and fever-related seizures. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
It's 7:27. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
I hear from sellers all the time that they fear they have missed out on the selling market. They are so relieved to learn September, October, and November are strong selling months. With low inventory and hopefully lower interest rates, this fall will be a hot one for real estate. I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. You may have heard me say, why pay more than for years? Now it's why pay more than 2, saving you even more money. Call me 314-441-4444. And remember, why pay more than 2?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri, Kansas, and Nevada. This is Todd Krentz with Krentz Financial Group. For over 6 decades, we have helped St. Louis families and businesses plan with purpose and live with confidence. Selling your business is a major milestone. Before and after the sale, our role is to help cut through complexity and create a clear financial strategy focused on your legacy. We often coordinate with your attorney and CPA to ensure everything is aligned so your plan not only fits today, but continues working for you in the future. Your goals, our mission. Start today at kfgadvisors.com. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Servicing. Member FINRA/SIPC. Prince Financial Group is not a broker-dealer.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. Quo, formerly OpenPhone, gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. Quo lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? Quo automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With Quo's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions and use those insights to level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with Quo. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/try and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's quo.com/try. QUO.com/try.
More and more now I'm hearing when all my customers that are calling and setting up appointments for looking at different types of furnace and air conditioners, they're calling in because of all the years that I've said there is a common sense approach and they want to see what that is. Well over 95% of the people are very happy that they did call me. I'm not saying that they purchased anything from me, but they're extremely happy that they did call me. It's not being cheaper. It's being explained in such a way to where they can make an honest decision for themselves and their family and what's best for their pocketbook. When you start getting prices for new furnace and air conditioners, call me. It's one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. Again, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Again, that's 314-293-2600, or on the internet, it is bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
It is 7:30, and right now it's cloudy downtown and 68 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, we still have our jam downtown. Obviously, that's not going to change. Westbound of 5570 is backed up at 157 now, and it goes all the way into 111. More folks are taking, of course, that's due to road work. More folks are taking westbound 64 to avoid that. So westbound 64, while not jammed, it is slow from 255 all the way to the 70 split. So it's really busy for Illinois drivers. Westbound 270, looking at a backup, both sides of 255 right now. Looks like we have a road work going on there, causing a delay. It's also slow. Route 3 over to the Canal Bridge. So that's what it looks like getting out of Illinois. Southbound 61, still this crash south of W. Traffic's jammed back north of Highway U. Bumper to bumper solid through there. After that, it's just backed up both sides of Winghaven. A little slow at Research Park through the Chesterfield Parkways and at the Interbelt. Westbound 64, Science Center out through McCausland's heavy. Eastbound 70, TR Hughes to 79. 94 into the Rock Road. There's some slow stuff. South 270 from 70 down to McKelvey, from 364 to Ladou's busy. North 270 ramping on from 55 to Ladou's heavy the whole way through. Northbound 55 slow into 67. The right lanes at Butler Hill. North of Rivas up to River to Pear is stop and go. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, we're looking at a chance of some showers and thunderstorms around, Roger. It's humid out there right now, but it's going to be cooler today than in recent days. A high of 76 degrees. Tonight, clearing much cooler. We're going to get into the 40s in the suburbs. And then for tomorrow, plenty of sun, high 74. Thursday, nice high 72. Currently, it's 69 degrees downtown.
It is now 7:32.
It is difficult to reconcile this new definition of marijuana offense with what is clearly written in Article 14 and passed by the voters.
Dan Vietz is with the Missouri affiliate of the National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Laws, or NORML. He tells KMOX Missouri's Supreme Court ruling eliminates felony marijuana expungements.
And Vietz says it also appears to violate and contradict the legislation passed by the Missouri voters in November of 2022. Vietz says a case, CS versus Highway Patrol and others, was taken up in the Western District Court.
The question was really whether an unlawful possession of a firearm based on simultaneous possession of marijuana should also be expunged. So the court did not need to give us a new meaning of marijuana offense in order to answer that question. But the majority of the Missouri Supreme Court chose to use that case to declare a new and far more restrictive definition of what marijuana offenses are for purposes of expungement.
Vietz tells KMOX there's not much recourse, but Missouri legislators could pass a law which would provide for expunging these cases, but he's not hopeful. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Missouri voters last year approved making abortion legal. Republicans immediately moved to reverse it. Now, Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway, in an effort to continue limits on the procedure, is demanding Planned Parenthood hand over patient medical records. 2 former Planned Parenthood board members and a doctor have also been subpoenaed.
Planned Parenthood and the ACLU say this is a blatant attempt to overturn the will of the people, not to mention a violation of people's expectation that their medical records are private. The 2 groups are also suing the state in a case that's set for trial in January. They're asking for several abortion regulations still on the books to be struck down, saying they're now unconstitutional.
We'll check your money report next. The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
It is 7:35, and it's time for your money report, and that is sponsored for you this hour by Busey Bank.
This is the Bloomberg Money Minute. The company behind Corona and Modelo says its beer business is outperforming the industry. Alcohol giant Constellation Brands reported financial results that topped Wall Street expectations in the most recent quarter. Anheuser-Busch's Michelob Ultra has overtaken Modelo in sales by volume, according to Circana. However, Modelo still leads in dollar sales thanks to higher pricing. Checking on markets, stocks are showing some fatigue this morning after hitting yet another artificial intelligence-driven record high yesterday. Futures are holding steady with the government shutdown stretching into a second week. Dow and S&P futures are little changed. And the International Energy Agency slashed in half its renewable energy growth forecast in the U.S. by 2030. The IEA says it's due to some of the policy changes from the Trump administration, which includes the suspension of offshore wind leases and permit restrictions for solar and wind projects. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the take care of my family goal. This is the enjoy the life I've built goal. This is the set up a foundation goal. This is Busey, where your goals become lasting legacies. Through bespoke plans that maximize your wealth, through partnerships that give you peace of mind. Because building wealth, tending to it, and passing it down secures a brighter future. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Cardinal Cowboy here. After a coma, a miracle, and the fight of my life, I made it back to the games wearing my signature cowboy hat and jersey. Then came the baseball pants, the replica trophy, and the smiles and joy from the young fans. That's when the Cardinal Cowboy was born. Renner Garage Door knows how to bring joy too. With top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, and family service you can trust, get your free repair or replacement quote today. Forward and back. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
It is 7:37. This is Total Information AM, and an argument that led to a shooting behind the Jimmy John's at Van Deventer and Laclede on the SLU campus leaves one person dead, one wounded. Police say the shooting victims were 16 and 20 years old and were not college students. Police say there was no threat to the campus.
Layoffs at Stifel Financial. About 60 technology workers in St. Louis will be let go in what's called a small restructuring. According to the Post-Dispatch, Stifel just had its best second quarter in the company's history, more than $1.25 billion in net revenue. Stifel has about 1,850 employees in St. Louis.
A Maryland Heights office building, once occupied by Centene, could soon become a wellness center for city and county police officers and their families. The St. Louis Police Foundation has a building on Borman Drive under contract, and according to the Post-Dispatch, wants to transform the 94,000 square foot building into a place that enhances morale, recruitment, retention, and overall health of police officers and retirees. It could include a gymnasium with basketball courts, dining room, offices, as well as rehab services, behavioral health care, and wellness programs.
Coming up on KMOX's Gas House Gang today. This is a show that is streamed, as this one is as well, on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Hello, everybody. Hi, Ken, watching from Virginia, who said that he's just keeping up with his hometown news. We appreciate that. A lot of people view the show online. That's kind of the new way to consume media, and we appreciate that. The Gas House Gang was way ahead of its time. It was doing that for quite a while, online exclusively. Now it airs on KMOX every day at noon. You might have heard that the show did very well through the season because we had manager Ollie Marmol on every Tuesday taking your questions. In fact, he could see them up on the screen. I don't think people could realize that he could see people being like, I don't like Marmol, fire him. And he could see all that stuff. You suck and all that. Not well. He took all those very well in stride, and I think people personally started to like him a little bit more after that show. Anyway, my point is, we always talked about Chaim Bloom. When's he going to talk? When's he going to speak to the media? Will you ever have him on Gas House Gang? Well, today's the day. Chaim Bloom, the new Cardinals president of baseball operations, will join us. The Cardinals have confirmed he will be with us for a half hour today. So make sure you tune in today. 12:05 is that show. Bernie Miklas, Chris Ranji join me every day on the show. We have the Gas House Gang, but today's a special one this Tuesday. The Gas House Gang on KMOX with Chaim Bloom.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
Let's talk for a moment about selling your home, because we're constantly hearing about how the housing market is doing. It's up, it's down, it's frozen, prices are up, they're down. What are mortgage rates doing? And it gets confusing. But here's the thing. If you have the right agent, it doesn't matter what's happening, because Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty is going to sell your home guaranteed in writing. Can any other agent that you've talked to so far do the same? In fact, Gloria Liu will guarantee to sell your home for 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay you the difference. So you don't want to risk working with someone who doesn't have the guarantees, the buyers, or the experience to help you sell your home within your time frame and for the most money. Here's another little secret. If you're shopping agents and interviewing them, some agents will just tell you the highest price. Like, we could sell your home for this. And you go, ooh, wow, great. And then you pick that one. But then it sits on the market with no offers, and then there's price reductions, and then you're not getting what you want. Talk to Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. Visit her right now at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
Let's get over to Roger Brand, overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, it's busy out there. This traffic reports the service of Metro Transit westbound 5570s jamming, approaching 157 most of the way into 111 due to the road work. Westbound 64 is the alternate, slow from 255 up to the 70 split. After that, you're okay. Westbound 270 backed up, approaching 255 into 111. There's a little slow traffic at Route 3, a little slow across the Chain of Rocks. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, there's heavy traffic from Bryan Road in Decay, approaching TR Hughes, 94 into the Rock Road, 364 across the Veterans Bridge to 141, south 270 from south of 70 down to Ladue. There's slow stretches. It's not a solid delay. Still this crash southbound 61 south of W. There's a jam north of Highway U. Miles of traffic backed up there. Eastbound 64 through Winghaven, Boone's Crossing past Clarkson. It's busy again in spots east of 270. North 270 from 55 all the way up to Ladue is stop-and-go pockets. 55 delays into 67. And from Union all the way up through Virginia. Next update at 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Metro Transit.
Looks like autumn has arrived, and all fall long, a Metro Transit Day Pass is still just $5, which makes you just one click away from your one-day mental health fall getaway. Plan your trip at metrostlouis.org.
Let's check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. It looks a little cloudy and like it could rain any minute downtown.
It's threatening right now. And Vic, if you've been watching the radar all morning long, it's been showing these rain and thunderstorms moving by to our north, but pretty much everything is staying to the north. We can get a brief shower, maybe a rumble of thunder, but it's just not going to be much. So close and yet so far. The only good news is that at least a front is coming through. It's going to take out the warm, and temperatures today will settle into the mid-70s under mostly cloudy skies. Clears out tonight behind this front, and by morning we're down in the mid and upper 40s in most suburbs, 51 downtown at the Arch. Beautiful day with sunshine tomorrow. Our high only 74, about 72 with sunshine for Thursday. Mostly sunny Friday up to 77, and partly sunny Saturday with highs near 80. Right now it's 67 in St. Peter's, 70 in Florissant, and cloudy, and 72 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Joe, thank you. Taylor Swift is shutting down those wild rumors. She is planning to quit music after marrying Travis Kelce. I haven't heard those rumors.
I haven't either.
So forget it.
She just released a massive album.
Who would start a silly rumor like that? BBC Radio 2 wasn't the one who started it. Taylor used that platform to call the gossip shockingly offensive, saying that making art is her deepest passion and purpose, and it's actually what connects her to Travis. The singer just dropped her 12th album, The Life of a Showgirl, says her fiancé has always supported her career and shares in her creative drive.
I'm really right now just like really stoked about the idea that I get to marry this person.
Right.
I love the person that I am with because he loves what I do and he loves how much I am fulfilled by making art and making music. That's the coolest thing about Trav is like he is so passionate about what he does that me being passionate about what I do, it connects us.
She called him Trav.
Trav.
I never heard that one before. Trav had a touchdown last night. Kelce with a 2-yard touchdown pass from Patrick Mahomes. It looked like a pick play to me. I thought that should have been a penalty, offensive pass interference, but they let it go, and Mahomes hit Kelce for a 2-yard touchdown for the first score of the game. Chiefs led the Jaguars 7-0 on KMOX. They actually went up 14-0. Looked like they were on their way to run Jacksonville off the field, but hold on a second. Trevor Lawrence hits Parker Washington for a touchdown to make it 14-7. And then a turn of the tide after a touchdown in the third quarter tied the game at 14. Mahomes makes a mistake. He throws a pass over the middle. Devin Lloyd picks it off at the 1 and runs it back 99 yards for a touchdown. That helps the Chiefs, helps the Jaguars lead the Chiefs by a score. And then after the Chiefs took the lead, the Jaguars came right back on them and took the lead again and ended up winning this game on a 1-yard run by Trevor Lawrence, in which he stumbled a little bit, got back up and ran it in from 1 yard out. And the Jaguars beat the Chiefs 31-28 on Monday Night Football. Chiefs are 2-3 on the season. Jaguars are surprising 4-1. They look like the real deal. You know who else looks really good? The Los Angeles Dodgers. I hate to break it to you, but the defending world champions look like they were bored with the regular season, just trying to get to the postseason. That's where they like to play. And yesterday they took care of the Phillies once again. They beat them yesterday. Final score was 4-3, and they scored their 4 runs in the 7th inning.
Dodgers up 1-0, looking for more in the 7th. Bases loaded, 2 out. First pitch, Will Smith drives a base hit to left field. Freeman is in. Here comes Kike. Will Smith clutches up a 2-run single in the 7th to make it 3-0 Dodgers.
And that's why Dave Roberts is talking about, look, we're going to use Will Smith when opportunities arise. And, boy, no bigger opportunity than right there.
First and second, 2 outs. The 0-1. Ohtani swings, hits it on the ground. It's into right field for a base hit. Green light for Muncy. He's in to score.
That made it 4-0, and the Dodgers go on to win this one 4-3. They hang on, beat the Phillies. They take a 2-0 series lead back home in the best-of-5 National League Division Series. Brewers beat the Cubs 7-3 last night. They go up 2-0 in that series, which goes back to Wrigley Field. It's a 1-1 series, Mariners and Tigers. And 2-0 lead, Blue Jays over the Yankees, with both of those resuming tonight. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Glover here from my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Many of you know that my inspiration for becoming an accident attorney was my brother Tim, who was rendered a quadriplegic at age 18. I didn't know what a personal injury lawyer was or what they did, but I soon did. Tim was treated terribly by the insurance company, and I became enraged. It was a constant delay and deny. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Tim later worked with me for 27 years. Last year, my hero died at age 65. You can see my eulogy for him by visiting mybrothertim.com. He was one hell of a man. Because of Tim, together we built the largest injury firm in the world, and our clients are treated the way I would want my family to be treated. At Morgan & Morgan, nobody is a nobody and everybody is a somebody. If you need our help, visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer. See you soon, Tim. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
KMOX proudly supports the Musial Awards, returning to Stiefel Theater Saturday, November 22nd. You can be in the audience for this nationally televised event, hosted right here in St. Louis. Named for Stan the Man, the show celebrates the year's greatest moments of sportsmanship and those who embody class and character. Experience the extraordinary moments and people that make the Musial Awards an event like no other. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Let's at 7:51 get you updated on your ride in. Roger Brand has the latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, lengthier backups today than yesterday, Debbie. On westbound 5570, you're backed up almost to the Keebler overpass, east of 157, most of the way into 111 due to the road work going on there. It's a solid jam pretty much the whole way through. Westbound 270, backed up approaching 255 to 111. It's slow from Route 3 into the Chain Rocks Bridge as an alternate. Westbound 64 from 255 to the 70 split is slow. Eastbound Highway 70, couple of spots, Lake St. Louis to Bryan Road, K to TR Hughes, the Blanchard into the Rock Road, 364 from the 94 Muki exit most of the way to 141 is slow, and again around Bennington. Southbound 61, stole this crash south of W, traffic's jammed well north of Highway U. That's a couple miles, 3 miles at least of traffic jammed. It's a little slow on 64 at Winghaven, Annie Guns through Clarkson, east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt. Westbound 64 is pretty solid, bumper to bumper from Kings Highway out through Big Bend. South 170 from Midland all the way down to 64 slow. Northbound 270 jammed, ramping on from 55, and then it's off the pace all the way to Ladue. 55, you've got the delays from Union Road overpass all the way up to Virginia. It's pretty solid. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather forecast, Joe Lundberg says, watch out for a little bit of rain here and there today, this morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, not as warm, high 76 today. We'll have a cool night tonight, lows ranging from 44 in the coolest suburbs to 51 downtown at the Arch. And then tomorrow, Pleasant with plenty of sun and a high of 74. It's 68 degrees right now.
The news continues at 7:52. The Senate is set to reconvene this morning after failing again to pass a funding bill to reopen the federal government yesterday. President Trump said he's interested in making a deal on the Democrats' key sticking point, health care. The Democratic leaders say the White House has been radio silent so far. Meanwhile, travelers at airports around the country are seeing flight delays as the transportation secretary acknowledges a jump in air traffic controllers calling in sick. CBS's News' Jared Hill has more.
The tower is closed due to staffing.
For several hours Monday, there were no air traffic controllers at Hollywood Burbank Airport.
It doesn't make me happy. It is kind of scary.
Pilots redirected to other centers. California Governor Gavin Newsom blamed the federal government shutdown. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy.
Is our airspace unsafe? No.
Trying to reassure travelers as staffing issues, including sick calls, hit several major airports and air traffic control centers.
Lambert Airport is not feeling the strain of the government shutdown, but its director, Rhonda Homnebrugge, urges travelers to check the airport's website for updates.
To see if there's any delays or any flight cancellations. The airlines have also got very active with texting or emailing if there is a flight cancellation or if there's particular delays at an airport. So just go to the website if you're flying to the carrier and check to see.
TSA agents, including those at Lambert, are still on the job but without pay at this point.
The federal government shutdown may have a bigger impact on Americans than we realize.
It continues to undermine trust in government.
John Shaw, director of the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute at SIU Carbondale, tells KMOX's Total Information AM it also ignores the overall budget crisis.
We have something like a $36 trillion public debt. And all this is focusing on the wrong problem. It's like you're in a boat that's leaking and everyone is focused on the smallest leak.
The latest CBS News YouGov poll shows that few Americans feel the current federal government shutdown is worth it, about a third blaming both parties equally.
From the KMOX archives, October 7th, 2001, under a month after the towers fell, the U.S. and Britain launched military strikes in Afghanistan. CBS News correspondent Laura Logan watched the assault in northern Afghanistan.
We've seen the horizon light up with several large flashes, and we've heard large booms accompanying those flashes. This is in the direction of Kabul, the capital Kabul, which is about 40 miles south of here.
President Bush says it was an effort to bring down the ruling Taliban over its support of terrorists.
Carefully targeted actions are designed to disrupt the use of Afghanistan as a terrorist base of operations and to attack the military capability of the Taliban regime.
It was 62 years ago today that President Kennedy signed the documents that ratified a nuclear test ban treaty with the Soviet Union and Great Britain.
Soberly and unremittingly, this nation, but never this nation alone, has sought the doorway to effective disarmament and to a world where peace is secure.
The treaty was limited because it did not ban underground nuclear testing. This was a necessary compromise as the U.S. and the Soviet Union couldn't agree on an on-site inspection system for underground tests.
It's 7:56.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Well, it was 32 years ago that a company started doing siding and windows at the highest of levels in St. Louis, and they continue on today. And their name is Banner Construction. What a great group of people at Banner Construction since 1993. Few companies have been able to match Banner's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and certified Pella window specialist. You know, the biggest choice you make when it comes to home restoration is who do you trust with your home? If you want to go ahead and cut corners and find somebody that's going to do it really cheap, well, you're going to find out after they start the work, and by then it'll be too late, that they're the wrong one. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to easily add architectural accents, unique architectural accents, to transform your home into the best-looking home in the neighborhood, and Banner Construction can do that for you. You can see the homes for yourself on their website, bannerconstruction.com. bannerconstruction.com, or call 314-569-1050 for a free in-home consultation and have a banner day.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Celebrate the spooky season with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. Take 15% off your air duct and dryer vent cleaning. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the huge savings.
Hey, Dave, this is Susan L. Ward, and my law firm and I want to wish you congratulations on your 25 years with the show. I am really, really glad that you left family law practice to me, and here's to 25 more for you on radio.
Here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we're jammed on westbound 5570 east of 157 all the way into 111 due to the road work ongoing there. If you want to take westbound 64 as an alternate, you're going to find heavy traffic from 255 up to the 70 split, then it's slow across the Poplar. Westbound 270 backed up both sides of 255. It opens up by the time you get to 111, and then you're on the go as you want to use that as an alternate route. By the way, going south down around across the JB Bridge, 255 is wide open. Still this jam. It looks like they cleared the crash that was south of W on southbound 61, but we're still jammed about midway between Moscow Mills and Highway U down to Highway W. So it's still a mess, but it'll hopefully start to get better. Boone's Crossing in through Clarkson is still heavy. East of Lindbergh through the Interbelt. The Interbelt's backed up from Page down through to about Ladue. Then it's not as bad. South 270 through 70. Midway down to Dorset from 364 down to Ladue is heavy. North 270, 55 to Ladue is busy. Northbound 55, still a backup pockets actually from Green Park all the way up through the Virginia area right now. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Winner of the National Edward R. Murrow Award for breaking news. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Today marks 2 years since Hamas' attack on Israel that killed around 1,200 people. Deborah Pata is across the border from Gaza at the site of the Nova Music Festival, where many of the victims died.
A grim milestone here in Israel as the country mourns its dead 2 years on from the Hamas terror attack. There are still 48 hostages in captivity, 20 believed alive. Their families are desperate for a deal as indirect negotiations between Hamas and Israel take place in Egypt.
In a speech today, a senior Hamas official called the attack a historic response to Israel's actions. The U.S. government shutdown is entering day 7, and a CBS News analysis finds federal officials have flagged more air traffic control facilities for low staffing levels over the past few days than they have since the post-COVID travel boom in 2022. Correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
We are seeing air traffic control staffing issues now several days in a row, often in places that don't typically have staffing issues, like here in Phoenix that saw about 250 delays coming in and out of this airport yesterday.
The control tower at Hollywood Burbank Airport closed for a few hours because it was unmanned. This passenger gets it.
That's the way they have to protest, right? They have no other way to show that it's hurting not just them, but us.
As more Democratic cities and states try to put up legal roadblocks, President Trump says he would consider using the Insurrection Act to send federal troops in.
I'd do it if it was necessary. So far, it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that.
A federal judge has turned down Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker's attempt to keep the National Guard out of Chicago. State Attorney General Kwame Raoul.
The only situations that are out of control
are certain ICE and Customs Border Patrol officers who are engaged in shocking overreach.
The Pentagon is relaxing its controversial new rules for media access.
The Defense Department now says journalists will not need its approval before running stories with information that was not officially released. There are still rules under which journalists could be deemed security risks and lose their Pentagon credentials. The Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press is still demanding clarification on that. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has removed several news outlets from their workspaces at the Pentagon and given those spaces to news outlets that are more friendly to the Trump administration. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Pope Leo will say arrivederci to the Vatican for the first foreign trip as Pope. The Vatican says he'll visit Turkey and Lebanon next month. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive. See why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive to stay protected on the road. See for yourself at Progressive.com.
At 8:03, we have cloudy skies, 71 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Tuesday, October 7th. I'm Megan Lynch.
It is difficult to reconcile this new definition of marijuana offense with what is clearly written in Article 14 and passed by the voters.
Dan Viets with the Missouri affiliate of the National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Laws, also known as NORML. He tells KMOX Missouri's Supreme Court ruling, which eliminates felony marijuana expungements.
And Viets says it also appears to violate and contradict the legislation passed by the Missouri voters in November of 2022. Viets says a case, CS versus Highway Patrol and others, was taken up in the Western District Court.
The question was really whether an unlawful possession of a firearm based on simultaneous possession of marijuana should also be expunged. So the court did not need to give us a new meaning of marijuana offense in order to answer that question. But the majority of the Missouri Supreme Court chose to use that case to declare a new and far more restrictive definition of what marijuana offenses are for purposes of expungement.
Viets tells KMOX there's not much recourse, but Missouri legislators could pass a law which would provide for expunging these cases, but he's not hopeful. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Is there still time for St. Louis County to renovate its headquarters before it falls out of compliance?
New fire codes in Clayton are forcing St. Louis County to find a new home, with their current headquarters lacking a fire suppression system. Despite acknowledging the council is exploring rental options, Councilman Dennis Hancock is still holding out hope there is enough time to retrofit the current building.
We've got time to find a new place to live. I think we probably got time to fix the place we live in.
Councilman Hancock says he wants to see a quote for just a fire suppression system. A spokesperson for County Executive Sam Page says it would cost $103 million and time has run out to renovate it. He adds by the end of the year, the council and the county executive will have chosen a new temporary location for the county's headquarters. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Parts of Interstate 70 were shut down this morning for an officer-involved shooting. St. Louis County Police say officers responded to a call about a suicidal subject on eastbound Interstate 70 near the Earth City Expressway just after 12:30 a.m. Police found a woman walking on the interstate with a gun. Police say the officer fired his gun, grazing the woman after she pointed her gun at him. She was taken into custody and transported to a hospital for treatment. That officer was not injured. An argument that led to a shooting behind the Jimmy John's at Vandeventer and Laclede on the SLU campus leaves one person dead and one wounded. Police say the shooting victims were 16 and 20 years old and were not college students. Police say there was no threat to the campus. Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri is calling for prosecutions after a newly released document shows the FBI under the Biden administration collected his phone data. More from KMOX's Michael Calhoun.
The document released by Senator Chuck Grassley shows agents gathered call logs and location data, but not the actual content of calls from the days around January 6, 2021 for several senators, including Missouri's Hawley. The data was for the Arctic frost investigation over elector slates, which formed the basis for the special counsel's case against President Trump. In a statement, Hawley called the action an abuse of power beyond Watergate.
The governor of Illinois says the Trump administration is orchestrating a problem and hoping to incite violence. Missouri Governor Kehoe says he supports what's happening.
We definitely have to clean it up. We know what illegal immigrants are doing to our country and, in our case, into the state of Missouri.
Illinois, California, and Oregon are fighting the deployment of the National Guard to help ICE. Kehoe says the only holdup in Missouri has been what he calls the, quote, Chuck Schumer shutdown.
Those are Missouri National Guardsmen that are going to assist at several ICE offices across the state. Kind of on the back end and processing piece was actually a request, I should say, from Kristi Noem.
From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, layoffs at Stifel Financial. About 60 technology workers in St. Louis will be let go in what's called a small restructuring. According to the Post-Dispatch, Stifel just had its best second quarter in the company's history, more than $1.25 billion in net revenue. Stifel has about 1,850 employees in the St. Louis area. Coming up on Total Information AM, we're going to look at Illinois' legal action to try to stop National Guard deployment in the Chicagoland. Anders Walker, professor at St. Louis University School of Law, will join me in studio. Plus, traffic and weather. It's 8:08.
FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, coming to Missouri soon. December 1st. Finally, you'll be able to bet on all your favorite teams and all your favorite sports, and it could not come at a better time of year with football, basketball, hockey. It's all happening. And with FanDuel, tons of ways to get in on the action. You can bet on everything from the money line, over under, bet the spread, or look to the future. Maybe you know who the MVP is going to be or win coach of the year, or what team's going to win the championship. You can do that with FanDuel. Plus, with live betting, you can even pick what player's going to score the next touchdown and the one after that while the game is going on. Download the FanDuel app and get familiar with it, because the app will be live to use December in Missouri. You can see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to download the app. FanDuel, play your game. 21 and over and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine, and you could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt, but you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market for a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Well, not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. And listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. So that's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. You cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. So imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt and stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. You get an all-cash offer now by calling 1-855-300-9993. You can also visit TrueHold.com, the smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 8:10. I know I hit that traffic coming in on 5570 this morning. Let's see what's happening there in other areas this morning with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's still not much change there, Megan. Unfortunately, like I said, that runs through Friday, so just get used to it for the next few days, unfortunately. But we're still delayed at 157, most of the way to 111, bumper to bumper, almost that whole way through on westbound 5570, westbound 270, just a brief backup through 255, 64, a little better. There's a couple of pockets from 111 to the 70 split, then it's just slow across the Poplar, so that route looks a lot better as an alternate to the 5570. Of course, you have to cut over on 157 or 159 to get down to 64, so that probably takes enough time that it might not be worth it, but that's how it looks. Eastbound 70, 5th Street into the Rock Road's heavy. South 270 from 70 down to Dorset, 364 down to Ladue is busy. Southbound 61, like I said, that crash south of W has been cleared, but you're jammed south of Moscow Mills down to about Highway U. Then it's finally picking up the pace. Annie Guns through Clarkson, east of Ballast all the way through the Interbelt's heavy. If you're on North 270, Tesson Ferry all the way to Ladue's busy. We have a crash on southbound 170 near Delmar. It's jammed back at Page. Westbound 64 from the Science Center out through Big Bend is slow, and North 55, the usual jam up from Bayless up through Loughborough. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A shower or thunderstorm in the area this morning. Otherwise, today will be mostly cloudy and not as warm as recent days with a high of 76. Skies will clear tonight, and it will turn noticeably cooler overnight. The lows will range from 44 in the coolest suburbs to 51 downtown at the Arch. Pleasant tomorrow with plenty of sun, the high 74. Nice Thursday with sunshine, high 72. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Currently, we have cloudy skies, 69 degrees in Florissant, it's 65 in St. Peters, and 71 downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Hundreds of National Guard troops could roll into Chicago as soon as today. Texas Governor Greg Abbott posted a photo on social media showing Guard members boarding a military transport plane carrying clear riot shields. Illinois followed California and Oregon in filing lawsuits to stop President Trump from deploying the National Guard. In studio, Anders Walker, professor at the St. Louis University School of Law. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Now, I have to note that in the Oregon situation, a judge said, no, you can't do this. In Illinois, the judge in this region said, we're going to let this go ahead. What's the difference there?
Well, the president can order in the National Guard or actual military troops whenever the president sees it fit.
So when you say sees it fit, what are the guidelines or even the restrictions there on when and how this can happen?
There are very few guidelines, very few restrictions. It's up to the president. If the president feels like people are not safe, then the president can order in troops.
Now, it's my understanding that currently what the White House is using is Section 12405 or 6 of Title 10 of the U.S. Code. What does that allow?
Well, it allows the president to send in troops. This is nothing new. It's happened many times, and people have just forgotten how many times. Dwight Eisenhower sent in the 101st Airborne to Little Rock, Arkansas, to protect 9 African-American children who were integrating Central High School. John F. Kennedy sent in troops to protect Freedom Riders in 1963 in Alabama. And Lyndon Johnson sent in troops in 1965 to protect marchers who were going from Selma to Montgomery. The governors of these states were not happy, but they acknowledged the president's authority.
When we look at this situation, I think a lot of people are looking at some of the language that's contained in those laws, thinking about there's language about repelling an invasion or suppressing a rebellion. And I think people are trying to say this doesn't qualify as that.
It doesn't have to. If the president feels like citizens could be harmed by anybody, the president can send in troops.
Does Congress have any role in this?
Not really. Congress declares war, but we're not talking about war. We're talking about executive measures to ensure safety. And that's what Eisenhower, Kennedy, and Johnson all did in the 1950s and 60s.
What about the ruling in Los Angeles, where a court found that the use of soldiers was improper?
That federal judge needs a history lesson.
Really?
Yeah.
So why?
Everybody forgets. Presidents have done this for decades. President Hayes, President Cleveland both sent in troops to put down strikes. President Hoover sent in troops to Washington, D.C. to clear the National Mall of veterans who were protesting not being paid for their service in World War I. There are no federal causes of action that can stop the president from sending in troops. These judges have lost their way.
How do you think this will end up in front of the Supreme Court as other actions of the White House have?
Well, it might, and the Supreme Court should affirm the president's decision.
What about the Insurrection Act? The president was asked yesterday by a reporter whether he would invoke the Insurrection Act. Are there different conditions that would have to be met to invoke that act?
Well, the president might need a history lesson as well. The president does not need to invoke the Insurrection Act. We're not talking about insurrection. We're talking about public safety. That's why Eisenhower sent in the 101st Airborne to protect 9 children. There was no insurrection. They were just not safe. There were white crowds trying to stop them from integrating Central High School. So everybody needs to read American history.
So beyond that, though, could people look at what's happening with protests in Chicago near the Broadview ICE facility and say that that is coming close to an insurrection?
Well, people can say whatever they want. The number one problem the White House might confront is what happened at Kent State in the 60s, where National Guardsmen who were called out by the governor ended up shooting students. That could lead to a major political blow up. And that's really the only problem that the White House faces, a major incident where voters say, we're tired of this. We want somebody else in charge.
Now, it's interesting. I was listening to an interview with the former head of the Illinois National Guard. He's not been in that position, for about a decade, but he basically did not feel that what's happening right now in this country rises to the level of civil disturbance that would require use of National Guard.
Well, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but that doesn't mean the president can't do it.
So, are there any ways that states can continue to legally challenge this move?
They can organize voters. They can try to get people to come out to the polls and elect a new president. That's the only thing people can do. If the president thinks there's a need for troops, that's his call.
So the next question then is, if we have individuals that are protesting and they are approached by the National Guard, what are your rights as a citizen of the United States to assemble and protest?
Well, everyone has a right to protest peacefully on sidewalks and in parks. And certainly, if people are protesting peacefully and they're not attacking the guards, provoking the guards, threatening them, then they do have First Amendment rights. And if they are put under arrest, they can call a lawyer and file a cause of action to be released.
All right. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your time this morning. That is Anders Walker, professor at the St. Louis University School of Law, joining us this morning on KMOX. Coming up next, we go to Chicago and our sister station WBBM for more on the actual situation there. And later this hour, Israel marks 2 years since the October 7th Hamas attacks. I'll talk with CBS correspondent Robert Berger in Jerusalem. Also, a new study shows Missouri may be pretty unprepared to administer new federal rules for Medicaid. We'll have that at 8:40. And before we end up the hour, Debbie Monterrey is going to take us to The Darkness, one of the premier haunted houses in the St. Louis area. Let's get a check now of the roads with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, still fairly busy, Megan. This traffic reports the service of Amon, Gantner, and Capriano. On the Illinois side, we still have this jam. It's a little better, but not much. Westbound 5570 approaching 255, most of the way into 111 jam. 64, though, just busy. 25th Street up to the 70 split, and west of 3rd Street to the Poplar. A couple of slowdowns on that route. Westbound 270 just slow while passing 255. If you're on eastbound 70, east of the Blanchett into the Rock Road, still a little busy there. Southbound 61, just a short delay coming out of Moscow Mills, picks up the pace pretty quickly, and then you're good to go. 64 just heavy through the Chesterfield Parkways, Maryville Center through Mason, and then from Spady all the way to the Interbelt. The Interbelt southbound jam from Midland down through to Delmore. We had a crash south of there. Westbound 64 Science Center to Big Bend's busy. North 270 backs up Chestnut Ferry to Gravois, then it's slow all the way to Ladue. South 270 from 70 midway down to Dorset, and 364 to Ladue heavy. Northbound 55 is short slowdown at 67, and approaching Union up to River to Pear, a solid jam. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Eamon Gantner and Capriano, yourestatematters.com. Hi, Margaret at Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all have one thing in common. We're all going to die. Do you have an estate plan? Eamon Gantner and Capriano, yourestatematters.com. The choice of an attorney is an important decision that should not be based solely on advertising.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
This is Tom Ackerman for Gamma Tree Experts, a full-service tree care firm specializing in the preservation of your valuable trees. We have a lot of trees in our yard, and Tim Gamma and Tom Gamma and their outstanding staff make sure that they are well taken care of. In fact, they have now put me in the habit of taking a look at the health of our trees, plants, and shrubs. And if I have any questions, I can reach out to them at 314-725-6159. 314-725-6159, or just go to gammatree.com to learn more. Gamma Tree experts, they will come right over and give us a full inspection, make sure that we know which trees are in trouble, which trees are doing just great. And if we end up having any storm damage, they will clean that up as well. They are Gamma Tree experts here since 1954. Gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
As you just heard here on Total Information AM, Illinois fighting a legal battle over the deployment of National Guard to the Chicago area. Let's go now to our Odyssey sister station, WBBM. Nancy Hardy joins me. Nancy, thanks for your time this morning.
Good morning, Megan.
Do we know any idea at this point, Nancy, where the National Guard may be sent, Broadview or Chicago proper?
So we're going to have to speculate a little bit since Homeland Security has not been keen on sharing details about their operations with the Democrats leading the state of Illinois or the city of Chicago. But Broadview would be a strong guess since that's been the flashpoint for a lot of protests. Since Kristi Noem and Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino were both there on Friday. But troops could also go to Brighton Park, that neighborhood in Chicago where a Border Patrol agent shot a woman Saturday morning when the agency said that she and others, that she drove at agents after following them while they were trying to conduct some immigration activities.
Describe the clashes between the protesters and federal agents at that ICE detention facility there in Broadview.
So when I was there on Friday morning, it was mostly peaceful. There were a handful of arrests, but it was a lot less pepper spray being used than the week before. However, Saturday night, things got aggressive. Broadview's mayor says that protesters attempted to take over the highway near there. They had to call in extra state troopers. There was a much larger police presence in Broadview last Friday than the Friday before.
And it appears that the mayor there in Broadview has put some new restrictions on protests to try to contain things.
Exactly. Mayor Katrina Thompson put out an executive order calling for fixed protest hours, setting that between 9 and 6 so that we didn't have things like that larger protest Saturday night. It's not clear if that is constitutional in the sense that the ACLU says they're already looking at that, but she's saying that this is affecting a lot of residents. I mean, there's a string of homes that are right across 25th Avenue from the entrance point that's become this major flashpoint. And the businesses nearby, I saw a very small no trespassing sign. They're being affected because, of course, police are having to shut down this major street because of the amount of protesters that are out there.
Nancy, we just spoke with a constitutional law professor here from St. Louis University about the challenges that states are trying to mount against this action by the Trump administration. What's the latest from Governor Pritzker on the fact that a judge has denied their request to stop deployment?
So the governor has plans today to go to Minnesota, where he is going to be meeting with Governor Tim Walz. His schedule just talks state leadership. We don't know if that's going to be some sort of, mutual aid pact where they work to, counteract the National Guard deployment from Texas and also the troops that have been called up from here in Illinois. I imagine that there was a judge that looked at the case but did not order a TRO. So for now, we believe they're coming. I think that they could show up as early as today, but there might be some training that's going to be needed before they would actually hit the streets.
Nancy, appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
That is Nancy Hardy with our Odyssey sister station, WBBM in Chicago. Coming up on Total Information AM, we are going to go to Jerusalem on the second anniversary of the October 7th Hamas attack. It's 8:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
If you are thinking about your retirement, you might be a little nervous because everything is more expensive and you're wondering, what are taxes going to be? What am I going to do? Am I going to be able to retire the way I want? Get some expert advice. Call the folks at Sachs Financial and they'll take a look and make sure that you're on the right path to have what you need today and what you want in retirement. And another thing to think about, what I really like about Sachs Financial is that they want you to be a part of this and they want you to understand what's happening. Like, one of the most important decisions that you need to make before you retire is when and how to claim Social Security benefits. It could be $100,000 decision one way or the other. So Jeff Sachs and the team at Sachs Financial are doing another Social Security workshop. It's absolutely free. And the next events are the 20th and 23rd of October at the Lodge de Pere. They start at 6:30. You don't have to do both, just one. There may be ways to maximize the lifetime of the Social Security benefits you receive. That's just one of the ways Sachs Financial wants to help. So attend this great Social Security workshop at retiresafestl.com/guide.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey guys, it's Glover right now. Buy 2 windows and get 2 free. No interest for 3 whole years. Restrictions apply. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
8:30 at Total Information AM. Let's try to get you around the backups and get you to work this morning. Roger Brand has more from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's not much change on westbound 5570, Megan. This traffic reports a service of the Woodlands of Arnold Senior Living. It's still jammed approaching 255 most of the way to 111. 64, a little slow at Baugh and then west of 3rd Street to the Poplar, so it's a little bit better on that route. They're still working that crash. Southbound 170 at Delmar, right lane's closed. Traffic's jammed back pretty much to the Rock Road now on southbound 170. Southbound 61 just a little busy at Highway P. 64 Prospect to the Boulevard's kind of heavy. Still slow between Clarkson and Timberlake, between Maryville Center and Mason, and east of Ballas. Busy most of the way into McKnight. Westbound 64 Science Center headed out through Bellevue's heavy. South 270 from 70 down toward Dorset is slow. 364 to Ladue is crowded. North 270 still pretty busy most of the way from almost Tesson Ferry to Ladue, so not a lot of change there. Northbound 55, still some slow stuff. Not a jam, but it is busy from Revis Barracks all the way up through Loughborough. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The Woodlands of Arnold campus offers skilled rehab, a beautiful assisted living community, and a secure memory care to keep your loved ones safe. Check us out at rspseniorliving.com. That's rspseniorliving.com.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, a shower, thunderstorm in spots this morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy today. Not quite as warm with a high of 76. Clearing and cooler tonight with lows around 50. Right now, we have cloudy skies, 71 degrees in downtown St. Louis. Israel is marking 2 years since the October 7th Hamas attack that plunged the region into war. This week, Israel and Hamas hold indirect talks in Egypt. We go to Jerusalem now and CBS correspondent Robert Berger. Robert, thanks for your time this morning.
Good morning.
How are Israelis marking October 7th?
A very somber day here, as you would figure. They are visiting some of the various sites where attacks took place, such as the kibbutzim down in southern Israel next to the Gaza border, and especially the site of the Nova Music Festival, where about 350 young people were gunned down at the Dance Festival 2 years ago. People visiting and paying respects. It's that kind of observance. It's a Jewish holiday here, Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles. So not that many organized events, but people showing respect there and also at Hostage Square in Tel Aviv.
Remind us about the status of hostages. What do we know at this point about those remaining in Gaza?
That's been the thing that's really been on the heart of Israelis since all of this happened 2 years ago. And hard to believe, but 2 years on, there are still 48 hostages in Gaza, 20 of whom are believed to be alive, 28 not alive. And the effort now, there are negotiations going on in Egypt right now as we speak, between indirect talks between Israel and Hamas to try and get those hostages released under President Trump's 20-point plan. He wants to see the hostages released within 72 hours of a formal.
What's the sentiment in Israel about how the government has handled the situation in the last 2 years? I believe we dropped out and we're trying to reestablish the link here. And we will have to check back in with Robert Berger again. That's Robert Berger joining us this morning from Jerusalem. We've got your money report next.
House stealing. It's a nightmare that's real. It's the FBI's term for thieves stealing your home's title and draining your equity. Just one fake document filed with a recorder, and scammers can own your home on paper, drain your equity, and do it all without you even knowing. Imagine waking up to a foreclosure or eviction notice. Listen to former title thief Matt Cox.
What people don't realize is the ease in which this crime can happen. I can take the deed to your house and I can transfer that deed into my name. It's a great crime, and it's happening all the time.
So how can you stop the nightmare and protect yourself? Find out if you're already a victim now at HomeTitleLock.com. Use promo code RADIO and get a 30-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, a title scan, and access to a title specialist, a $250 value. Don't wait. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now, promo code RADIO.
8:35, time for your money report, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
OpenAI is making it easier for folks to use outside apps within ChatGPT. Users can now connect with a number of third-party services while using the chatbot. OpenAI calls the feature Talking to Apps, and Spotify, Zillow, Expedia, and Booking.com are available. OpenAI now has more than 800 million weekly ChatGPT users. Turning to today's trade, it's a quiet morning on Wall Street. S&P and Dow futures are little changed. On the radar for traders, President Trump says he will negotiate with the Democrats over healthcare subsidies, a move that could open the door to resolving the shutdown. Yesterday, the S&P 500 hit a new record fueled by tech stocks riding the artificial intelligence spending boom. And even though pumpkin spice latte season feels like it just started, Starbucks is getting ready for winter. The coffee chain's holiday menu will be out starting November 6th. It includes an iced sugar cookie latte and a polar bear cake pop. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Tom Ackerman for McKelvey Homes, McKelveyHomes.com. They were founded in 1898. They're Missouri's oldest home builder, building a tradition of excellence since 1898. 1898 is also a special number for them, and that they donate $1,898 to a nonprofit every time they sell a home. Last quarter, it was the Gervais Syndrome Foundation. They donated money back to the Gervais Syndrome Foundation every time they sold a home. In fact, they were the presenting sponsor of the Dance for Gervais at the Third Degree Glass Factory that ended up raising over $900,000 for the Dravet Syndrome Foundation. That's what McKelvey Homes does, and their great president, Jim Brennan. They also have these beautiful, quick, move-in ready homes, great home sites all throughout the St. Louis area, St. Charles County, St. Louis County. Check them out online and move up to McKelvey, McKelveyHomes.com.
This is the run my own business dream. This is the colleges paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments. Through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With a Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. That's right, weight loss seminar at the Marriott St. Louis West in St. Louis at 11 a.m. Registration 10:30 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Registration 1:30 p.m.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Missouri's Attorney General has gone to court seeking health records of Planned Parenthood abortion patients. The request seeks incident reports and information on adverse events. The organization says the demand violates patient privacy. Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri calling for prosecutions after a newly released document shows the FBI under the Biden administration collected his phone data. It shows that agents gathered call logs and location data, but not the actual content of calls from the days around January 6th, 2021. Even with the government shutdown, TSA agents, including those at St. Louis Lambert International, still on the job. Director Rhonda Homnebergy tells Missouri Net their role is federally mandated to continue working. Still ahead on Total Information AM, is Missouri ready to implement new work rules for Medicaid? One group says that's unlikely. I'll get the details after we get a check of the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, they cleared that crash to the shoulder on southbound 170 at Delmar. This traffic reports the service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm, but traffic is still stop-and-go pockets from the Rock Road down to about Olive, and then it's improving after that. You still have your roadwork jam on westbound 5570, 255 most of the way into 111 solid, but 64 is thinned out, and 64 itself is just slow west of 3rd Street to the Poplar, so not as bad on that run now. If you're on eastbound 64, still a little slow, Clarkson to Timberlake around Maryville Center. There's heavy stuff from Spady into about the inner belt. Westbound 64 west of the Science Center to Big Bend is crowded. South 270 still a slowdown through McKelvey midway down to Dorset, and from 364 to Ladue. North 270 Gravois to Ladue, that's still busy. Northbound 55 still off the pace from the Union Road overpass up to about Loughborough. I'm Roger Brand at the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
You could see a shower or thunderstorm in spots early today. Otherwise, mostly cloudy for the rest of the day. Not quite as warm, a high of 76 degrees. Clearing and cooler tonight with a low around 50. And then tomorrow, pleasant with plenty of sunshine, a high of 74. We do have sunny skies now, 71 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. Researchers question whether many states, including Missouri, will be able to handle new Medicaid rules that take effect in less than 2 years. That includes federal funding cuts and Medicaid work requirements. I spoke with Tricia Brooks, research professor at the Georgetown University Center for Children and Families.
And I might remind your listeners that Missourians fought really hard for Medicaid expansion. They overrode the legislature through a ballot initiative to get this expansion implemented. So what the bill does, what H.R. 1 does, is require states to renew coverage for most adults 19 to 64 2 times a year, not once. So that's administrative work right there. And that starts in January 27. But the biggest impact is going to require expansion adults, with some exceptions, to work or engage in community service or training or education programs for at least 80 hours. So verifying compliance with this requirement or confirming if someone is exempt is really a major policy shift, and it's going to be a heavy lift for states. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that a total of 5 million people 5 million adults are going to become uninsured. And states just don't have the time to get this right. This type of major policy shift takes time and resources, but states only have 18 months to design their systems, test their systems, if they're going to avoid these mass disruptions in coverage. And yet we don't even have regulations from the Centers on Medicare and Medicaid, and won't have them until June of 26, a mere 6 months in advance.
According to your analysis, Missouri and also Illinois were among the states most at risk of poor implementation of this. And it sounds like it's more than just that timeline. What are the factors there for these states?
So when we know when state administrative capacity is stretched, that everybody is affected. Confusion around changes, unrealistic timeframes, they lead to backlogs and workloads that overwhelm the staff. So if states are already having trouble keeping up with their workload, things are not going to get any better in the future. So we looked at 8 Medicaid performance metrics. These are data that the state reports to CMS and CMS publishes. They are: how long does somebody wait on hold to get assistance? If they can't hold on, what share of calls are dropped? Or sometimes when systems get overloaded, they drop calls automatically. Is the state experiencing a delay in processing applications? What share of enrollees are being renewed? And in particular, what share are being renewed on an automated basis, which is efficient and accurate and cost effective? How many people are getting disenrolled? And more specifically, are they getting disenrolled because they're ineligible, or because the state's missing something that it needs? It needs paperwork or something. And then also if the state is experiencing a delay in processing these renewals. So if a state ranked in the bottom half of states on these metrics, we gave them a red flag. And both Illinois and Missouri have 7 red flags. There's only one more state that has 7, and that is Montana. So they are, really the states that are most at risk here.
What could all of this mean for families that do rely on Medicaid?
Well, beyond the confusion and chaos, we are going to see disruptions in coverage. And we're going to see a workforce at state eligibility units and call centers, and that creates additional chaos. But most importantly, we know that that researchers have been using different assumptions to estimate how many people might lose coverage. And while they all come up with slightly different numbers, they all lead to significant coverage losses. For Missouri, loss of coverage was around a third of expansion enrollees. That's anywhere from 100 to 200,000 people. In Illinois, it was more than that. It was closer to 50%, 46, 48%. So you're talking anywhere from 300,000 to 400,000 people losing coverage. And that is not a good thing.
And I would even have to think that just even a disruption, even if someone is able to then get back on Medicaid, that could impact health outcomes for these individuals?
Yes, it will. And it depends on how long that particular gap is. People have a tendency to say, oh my gosh, I don't have insurance. I can't pick up that prescription that helps me manage my heart disease or manage my high blood pressure. I'm just going to have to hold on and wait. Maybe I'll stretch my pills and take a half a day, or something like that. It doesn't take long for someone with a chronic condition to actually become less healthy. And then of course there are those acute things, an injury, and you end up in the ER and need surgery, and you're facing a $15,000 hospital bill that puts you into medical debt. So these are the things that happen when people don't have health insurance. People need to be healthy in order to work. It seems like we're going at this backwards.
You mentioned all those red flags in Missouri and Illinois, according to those factors that you looked at. So, on the other side of this, what can states like Missouri and Illinois do to try to pull out of that and manage this better when this happens in 18 months?
There's a lot that they can do, but it takes time and resources. We already know that Missouri cut taxes this year and is already cutting their budget. I think that Illinois was in a different place where they were able to raise taxes and have a balanced budget. But obviously, state budgets are not in great shape. So the question is, how much of this can they do? So it revolves around the technology that they use and the choices that they make in terms of things like, are you going to do it every 3 months or just at application and renewal? There are choices that states have that will make it better. The other thing is that states need to boost their communication touch points with individuals using multiple methods, phone, email, social media, websites, all of that stuff, and engage their community partners, their health plans, their health providers, churches, schools, you name it, community-based organizations that serve families. The word has to get out so that we can help people understand the steps they need to take in order to retain their coverage.
That is Tricia Brooks, research professor at the Georgetown University Center for Children and Families. Up next, Debbie Monterrey takes us to the darkness.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Red Kingdom is back at FanDuel Sports Network Live in Ballpark Village. See every game on the largest screen in town. Don't forget about the $25 buckets, $5 cocktails, and the best tailgate food around. Grab your friends along with King MOX and huddle up for the games at the best watch party in town. If you can't make it, but don't want to miss a down, listen to the Chiefs on King MOX or King MOX on the Odyssey app. For more info, kingmox.com/events.
You're back with Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. It's that time of year when people seek out haunted houses, and one of the most decorated award-wise is The Darkness. Debbie Monterrey stopped by to chat with owner Larry Kirchner.
So I know this is the biggest time of year for you, but you have turned this whole complex into a year-round destination.
Well, first off, The Darkness is in a lot of ways because, we open in September.
We usually close in November, sometime in November. And then this year we're going to do like a special event called Happy Thanksgiving, and so it'll be one night only where, the Thanksgiving killers are running around. And then we do Krampus, which is in December. And then in February, we do My Bloody Valentine. The Valentine one is the biggest one because, it's like the scariest date night of the year, of course. But then next door, we built the St. Louis Escape with the 8 escape rooms, the retro golf, and the pinball arcade. And that has gotten bigger than the Darkness itself.
Kirchner recognizes the importance of social media and has added places for good selfies and videos.
So like in the museum here, you've got these giant animation monsters that you can press a button and make a reel with. We had added the secret bar because a lot of people like horror pop-up bars or Halloween pop-up bars. So we decided we'd build the best one. And so that's a new experience here. And then probably the biggest thing was we totally took out like a haunt that had been here since for like 17 years. It was called the Terror Visions, the black light. And we replaced it with something like scarier. And then on the escape room side, we went crazy too because we renovated our retro golf, and then we added a new escape room called Alien Encounter. In the early days, like you would be excited if like a reality show company came through, and we were on a ton of those, like Shipping Wars, and Travel Channel used to do a bunch, on haunted houses. We were on Modern Marvels, like how stuff is made for haunted house. I mean, we were on all of them, right? And that was always exciting. The Mythbuster people came one year, but now it's like not reality show anymore. It's YouTubers. Okay. So all the biggest YouTubers that cover haunted houses have been here, but not once, but multiple times. So when you think about like the biggest YouTubers out there that cover like, kind of like Halloween and creepy stuff, they probably haven't been to maybe but 5% of the haunted houses in the world. But this one, they've come 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times.
Kirchner says after the Krampus Christmas event shuts down in December, they scramble to get things ready for the Bloody Valentine event and the huge Transworld Halloween and Attraction Show in downtown St. Louis, billed as the only industry trade show of its kind in the world.
Because you're talking about haunted houses, owners, operators from all over the world. Like last year, we had 17 people from like Universal Studios Horror Nights come through, as an example. And so, yeah, you want to try to be the best. And that's a lot of work in the winter.
All that said, Kirchner has a bit of a Rodney Dangerfield complex. No respect.
When you think of St. Louis, you think of like emos, and you think of like City Museum, and you think of like Ted Drew's. Like, why isn't the Darkness, like considered in the same line, right? St. Louis's biggest trade show that brings in the most revenue. They're struggling with that convention center, The biggest trade show they have is the one that I brought here. And it does, somewhere almost $10 million in revenue for the city, And then when you get off those roads, and you see those signs and it tells you, there's no sign for St. Louis Escape. The owner of the Phoenix Suns, okay, flew on his private plane to St. Louis like 2 or 3 times just to play my escape rooms, right? Myra Ray Cyrus has been through the Darkness, right? And so it's like, but we're not, considered like, one of those staples. And it really is a staple because this is its 32nd year.
That's Larry Kirchner of The Darkness, Lemp Brewery, Haunted House, and Creepy World in Fenton. Debbie Monterrey, KMOX News.
Thank you, Debbie. And tomorrow on Total Information AM, KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz joins me. Bitcoin is in a pretty big rally this week, but we're going to talk about whether it's actually a pretty big risk. Plus, participation in high school sports hits a record high. We'll find out more. It's now 8:55.
The NHL regular season starts today. We're going to chat with former Blues enforcer Tony Twist. Plus, Illinois is suing the Trump administration over the National Guard deployment. And former NFL quarterback Mark Sanchez is facing a felony charge. It all starts at 9 a.m. on the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
If you are caring for a loved one, a parent or a grandparent or a spouse, or if you are aging in place at home and you need some help, it can be really hard to know who to turn to. You're making a lot of phone calls. You're waiting on people to call.